Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing blue-black tempo with Nethergoyf and Tamio, squeezing our opponents while we disrupt the living heck out of them. We've got 4 Dazes, 4 Forces, 4 Wastelands, 4 Thoughtseize, 3 Nile Spellbombs. We are a combo killing machine, and we are going to do our best to dismantle combo. This deck is not great against fair decks. If we play against fair decks that are non-blue, probably going to lose. This just doesn't have that mid-range appeal. But if we get queued into combo decks, you better believe that we're in a very dominant position thanks to these cards. Rounding out the interaction, we go up against Eldrazi. We've got the 4 Consigns, 2 Harbinger that like don't leave home without them. We go up against Moon Stompy, which I expect to happen. We'll have 2 Hydroblasts, 2 Force Negations. We go up against any sort of Chalice deck, Engineered Explosives, and if we go up against fair white decks that are using Prismatic Ending, Swords to Plowshares, things like that, Kaito is our man. He's going to jump in and get the job done. This is one of the best anti-control cards you can play right now. So again, our goal is to beat tempo decks, beat combo decks, and not completely die to fair non-blue decks. See you in round 1. Round 1, we're up against a likely Sneak and Show player. This hand is fine against Sneak and Show. If they have Wasteland for some reason, it's catastrophic. We're going to hope they don't waste us. This hand is particularly strong because we have lots of closing power. I mean, Nethergoyf closes the game very quickly, and this Fatal Push is probably dead, but we might draw a Brainstorm to be able to put it back at some point. If it looks like they're on an Orcish Bowmasters deck, Nethergoyf, unfortunately, is extremely weak to Bowmasters. We will be able to daze it, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee. Neva33 says, "Grats on your YouTube channel." Okay, so this is a Sneak and Show type open, or maybe like an Omnitel. Let's see here if they play green. Green is very good because it gives you access to the Summer. They may not be on this. All right, so second days. I mean, this gives us something to practically do while we're waiting around for other cards to arrive. We now have double force, double blue card if we need it. I am really hoping that we face nonstop combo because it feels like whenever I'm not on tempo, I face combo constantly, and then I wish I was on tempo. Uh-oh, white mana. Beanstalk. Well, that is going to be a daze. If they daze back, I will have to force because you don't let this card resolve. Okay, we stopped the most problematic card in their deck, most likely. So they're on most likely Bant Beans or 4-color Beans, which means that we're likely to get this exiled pretty soon. We won't be able to use the escape clause. We're just going to come in for another hug, and we're going to hope that we can keep dazing stuff while we wait to draw a second land to deploy this Bowmasters, which will be exceptional against their deck. They might go for a Murktide here, or Marktide, as Google will translate Japanese Murktide to. Marktide, the Tide salesperson. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this out and hope that they interact so that I can at least get a little bit extra damage here. But this is what we call a super sclerotic opening for sure. Like, them dazing this would be ridiculous. But I'm here for it if they want to do it. They're plowing the first one. I don't think we interact. I think we just accept it. Gain the life. This comes down. Yeah, I mean, I figured that was going to happen. Just a matter of time. We are both likely experiencing a lot of server lag, so if you notice the clocks are super low, that's why. So we're not going to get our hug in, but it only would have been 1 point of damage anyway. Our graveyard is looking quite scrawny, and so, as a result, is our Nethergoyf. Fetching, probably surveilling. Meticulous Archive. Undercity Sewer, okay, so they're on at least 4 colors, which I like. Like, we're a tempo deck, and we like to punish those. I think we can confidently say Harbinger of the Seas is coming in for the sideboard games. 4th land. These make my dazes look pretty bad. I am definitely afraid that they get a Murk out and we're not able to borrow it soon enough. But do we force our Murktide? Well, I think we do. This daze is not like super duper awesome right now. Yeah. I mean, it's like a 2-for-1 for them, but they are down to 3 cards. But that's because they've been playing out, they've been making their land drops. All right, well, we stopped the imminent threat of our Murktide, so we will live to hit with our tiny Goyf again. This Fatal Push is very bad in the matchup, though. They probably are playing Bowmasters, but like we have our own Bowmasters. We're going to be siding all 4 of these Fatal Pushes out, I think. And again, like don't ever get tilted if you lose game 1. Game 1 is fact-finding me. You can rely on skill and tasteful sideboard substitutions to get you games 2 and 3. Brainstorm's a good card. I mean, they're representing Bowmasters here. I do want to get a fetch land before I attack just to maximize damage. I'm going to attempt this, and then I will force pitching Borrower if they have a Bowmaster. All right. So, Days goes back, Fatal Push goes back. I think this is very easy. And now we can make our Goyf bigger. I'm just going to go ahead and ponder now. I don't know that they're playing Days. A lot of people aren't. I'm not going to fetch basics here. Maybe... I mean, like they're probably used to playing against blue-black tempo. It's been a top deck for a while. This is land number 3, which I don't really need. I mean, it's weird to put back these cards. I think I should take the Force first because I want to pitch Force to Force if I have to. Then we can potentially Brainstorm and Shuffle next turn. Yeah. I don't want to pitch the Borrower because that is not only a clock, but it is an answer to a Murktide later. And it's a pretty clean answer. So let's see what scary thing they're going to do here that we have to force. They're at 13. Leyland Binding, not necessarily a force. That's fine. I'm always happy when my opponent is using their mana to cast cantrips. Now, if they cast a Murktide, we can just borrow it back and we can fight over the borrower instead of fighting over the Murktide. One more cantrip and they are back to Murktide viability. All right. So I'm just going to draw and I'm just going to go for the attack first and see what they do here. Okay. I do have a land on top. I think it's okay to Brainstorm. They're not going to be able to kill my... Well, actually, they will be able to kill my Nethergoyf. Okay. So we're going to put back one of the lands and one of the forces. I can just drop this. And we can pass. We've got Surveil up. We've got Bowmasters, Force. We've got a lot of interaction up. I'm feeling pretty good about this game. Like, I wasn't happy at the beginning with being stuck on mana for a while. I think I am going to attempt to do this. Because, I mean, this just closes the game. Because we can force to fight over what they do here. And I'll just pitch the Brainstorm. I'll pitch the Brainstorm to Force. They could find a Terminus, which would be pretty annoying. They can set it up, but I do have the Force. They may be looking at so many cards that they have a Force to deal with it. Terminus is particularly annoying because it puts the Nethergoyf on the bottom of our deck and the Bowmaster, so we won't be able to escape to finish off with it. 1, 2, 3. But Brazen Borrower can come down and finish, but I suspect they have Bowmasters in their deck. I mean, they are playing black, so that's a reason to play Bowmasters, but it could be like a sideboard strategy. Like I often have Bowmasters in the sideboard when I'm playing a more control deck. Okay, this is the Force attempt. They can reveal it, and then I'm going to attempt to Force. And the Days would be an absolute blowout here. But we're going to keep the Borrower rather than the Brainstorm here, just because it is something that can flash in and kill in 2 attacks. They force back. Force negation, yep. So we lose everything. That's a bummer. Yep. And this is kind of what I anticipated happening. But you have to go for it. I don't think we were wrong for Bowmastering their Brainstorm. Feel free to disagree with me, though, in the comments. Best draw would be like another Nethergoyf, probably. It's not a great draw, but this can Surveil, so I'll go ahead and play it out. And then I'll just plan to end step the Brazen Borrower and hope very much that they do not have a Bowmaster of their own to kill my Borrower, because Borrower is a great card, but it is weak to Bowmaster. And if they just have a Plowed, a 1-for-1 it, that's another thing they can do. I'm going to see whether this sticks before I Surveil. Beanstalk would be seriously irritating here. That would be something that can like really pull them back into the game. We have a lot of bad draws in our deck. Leovold, that's not that big of a deal because we can just fly over it. Let's see if we can fly over it. Are they going to plow it? Yep, they did. Okay, so let's Surveil. There are only a few cards in our deck that can really bail us out at this point. We want to dodge cantrips. Second Borrower would be good. Nethergoyf actually is fine. I'm going to keep him, and I'm going to hope that he can swing in and do some damage. But if they have Prismatic Ending or if they have any number of other cards, we're screwed. This is like we're well past the point where their deck takes over. But we have Leovold in the Abyss potentially. If we draw like a Nile Spellbomb, we can crack it during their turn, and then we can make Nethergoyf bigger. Okay, they're fetching to 5. This could just be an instep plow. They probably have a meticulous or a hedge maze in their deck or a meticulous archive. They might be getting one of those. Sanctuary. Okay, this just gets plow back. So I'm not going to concede because we're like winning on a clock, and they are low in life. I mean, it's not in what? That feels greedy to me. They could have just dealt with this. Now they may not be able to deal with it unless they already just have the answer in hand. Okay, they're pondering. Because I mean, we're representing like death basically over 2 turns. I guess 3 turns because they can chump. They did not shuffle, so I presume they found an answer to this. Prismatic Ending. No, wait, what is this? Oh, a Murktide. Yeah, that does it. So Brazen Borrower is our best draw now. Okay, they found answer to that too. Brazen Borrower can get that back. I'm no longer confident we're winning. I'm going to take my time here. Yeah, the exile basedness is like so brutal. They probably have at least 8 exile effects in their deck. Let's concede. Okay. Yeah, they had us dead in like 2 turns anyway. And we would have had to draw 2 answers which we were not likely to draw. I think it was actually deterministic there. I don't think there was anything in our deck that would save us. So Kaito comes in for sure. It's what you play Kaito for. Harbinger comes in. There's an argument to be made for bringing in Forced Negation because Beanstalk is so backbreaking if it resolves. I don't really dislike taking... I don't really dislike these Nile Spellbombs. I mean, they are Murktide deck. Tamio's fine. You could argue Nethergoyf's the weakest card because it dies, so like a Stiff Breeze. They probably have Prismatic Endings. Tamio at least is card positive. Nethergoyf, you really have to apply pressure quickly for it to work. It's only 1 body. So I think it's totally fine to cut Nethergoyf. We're down to 12 creatures though. We cut a Spellbomb. Then we rely on some combination of Tamio and Bowmasters to enable Kaito. We definitely keep the Thoughtseize in. We definitely keep the Dazes in. Yeah. So we just need to get Kaito on the table. I think Kaito will be reasonably hard for them to deal with. Well, if they have like all their colors, then it won't be that hard. Okay, this is a great hand. I like opening Tamio because this is something we can daze to protect. Yeah, and then we can create a clue immediately. And I'm all about just getting value on the table. They could have Wrath of the Skies. That'd be very greedy for them to have that in their deck, but they could have it. And that is something that will get rid of our clues as well. Okay, this is not a exile-based removal card. That's fine. I'm not going to counter that. So I think what I want to do here is Thoughtseize, check, make sure the coast is clear, and then I can brainstorm to flip her if I feel the coast is sufficiently clear. But they have lots of answers to her, so you pretty much have to immediately start down-taking her. Okay, so I am going to... do I want to respect the fact that they have days? No, I'm just going to Thoughtseize. Okay, so this is a great hand on their side of the table. Bowmasters is really annoying. I think we take the Beanstalk and then we just waste them and we buy a turn where we're time walking essentially with Tamio and putting... Yeah, the Beanstalk is the most annoying thing. Bowmasters is annoying too, but we have a couple turns to deal with that. Yeah, I'll just take the Beanstalk. It's the namesake of the deck. And... now we face the question, do we want to waste them? I think we do, because restricting their colors is good. Doesn't matter, I can just do it now. I know what's in their hand. So we're going to attack, and their next turn is going to be fetching and playing some unknown card from their hand, because everything else is unplayable. Okay, 1 strand out. Okay, so now we want to go ahead and attack first, and then we can just brainstorm. They force brainstorm. That is totally fine with me. We want to get Brainstorm out of our hand, and we want to ideally shuffle these 2 Underground Seas back. And what we can do is we can just kind of minus to grab Thoughtseize, but we need to get some loyalty on her first. But we already have these 2 clues, and it's going to be a few turns before we can use them, so I think it's fine to go ahead and just Brainstorm here. Okay, this is fantastic. This is sublime. All right, we're going to put back one of these. We'll just redraw it, I guess. We don't have a shuffle effect, but that's not bad. These cards are all good. So my instinct is to play a land here. We can just put Borrower down, and then we'll draw the land next turn. And then I'm just going to land Thoughtseize and get one of these out of their hand. We're doing a lot of damage to ourselves, but I think it's unlikely that they're able to tempo us out with the Bowmasters. We could we could ponder to shuffle, but I think it's so much more powerful to just strip one of their Bowmasters. And if they are in any hurry to try to get a ping on Tamio or anything like that, Pernicious Deed is pretty dangerous because it does blow up our clues. My instinct is to just take the Orcish Bowmaster, though, and we can minus and Thoughtseize that Pernicious Deed later. So we have double Thoughtseize in the yard. Yeah, and I can Thoughtseize and they won't be able to necessarily respond. There's also the temptation to just keep going north with Tamio. Tamio doesn't actually die to Pernicious Deed. It just blows up the clues. So we could use our mana each turn to like draw cards instead of doing other things. Okay, they're surveilling. If they find like an exile-based removal spell, then we have to force. But like if we just draw our deck, that ends the game very quickly. And I would love so much to just daze here if they try to Bowmaster. So now we could just minus a Thoughtseize real quick. If they force here, that'll be great for us. That'll mean their unknown card is accounted for. Yep. And this will be fine because next turn we can draw from the clue. And by the time they get the thing out, it'll be too late. So their hand is one land, one Pernicious Deed that they will have to warp their mana base to take advantage of. So there's certainly a risk they could draw another Bowmaster. I'm going to just plus here. And I'm going to play this out. And I guess I'll just crack the clue now. I'm not going to pretend that I have anything going on. Yeah, this is the borrower we knew about. That's right. I forgot about that. Okay. So they could deed and then they could blow up our clue, but that's not good. They probably have something else to do here. They're going to have to do something to get rid of her. It's worth noting that if they just have like Prismatic Ending or like Leyline Binding or something, we get 0 value for her, which really sucks. Okay, that's fine. Do they want a 1-for-1 or a clue? They don't seem to. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just start by cracking the clue, see what we draw. Force would be incredible. Daze, not necessarily bad. Wasteland would be good. Anything that gives us like a Time Walk effect. Because if I can take them off white, it makes it really hard for them to remove her. Because Pernicious Deed explicitly does not kill non-creature or Planeswalker. Planeswalkers weren't printed when this card was printed. And now we're kind of clear of Pernicious Deed for most intents and purposes. We're both getting server lag, I think. Marsh Blast, not an exceptional draw. I think we play this out because this is a surveil. We just have to dodge. We had to dodge them finding one of many cards they could wreck our day, but I'm not going to give them anything for them to hit with Deed. It's very likely that we just can't do anything. It's also possible that they just concede here. Okay, Meticulous Archive can put something on top of their deck, but nothing that stops us from doing what we need to do here. They're putting a Ponder on top. Do they have a way to draw? That doesn't do anything. I think our opponent didn't realize it doesn't do anything. Otherwise, there would be no reason to do that. No Planeswalkers. Yeah, like that's got to be a bummer. Finding out the hard way. But it's not as hard as finding it out at like Eternal Weekend or something. I found out how Carpet of Flowers works with Leovold at Eternal Weekend, and it sucked. I was like very disappointed. Okay, so on the draw, I think Daze comes out, and we can just bring in more things to turn on Kaito. I think Nethergoyf is fine here. Yeah, I think Nethergoyf's fine. I'm going to bring that in, and we're just going to try to maximize the chances of getting Kaito on the table. All right. This hand is a snap keep. Thoughtseize is great. We do have Kaito Force if we need it. Did I not take out Fatal Pushes? My goodness. That's such a punt if I didn't take out my Fatal Pushes. Yeah, those should definitely be dazes. Do as I say, not as I do. I mean, they may have Tamio. Maybe we get lucky. We haven't seen Tamio from their side, though. We've only seen Bowmasters. I'm going to go ahead and get a swamp here. I don't think there's any cost to it, just in case they are playing Wasteland. No, I don't think that's necessarily correct. I think it's fine to just Underground Sea into Thoughtseize here. We'll have a... Oh no, we drew another one. So bad. No, wait, this was already in our hand. Okay, we drew Tamio. I'm going to Tamio next turn. If they want to waste me, that is totally fine with me. I've got plenty of cards in hand. Tamio may be the pitch to force depending on how much removal they have in their hand. We are eventually going to need to get a creature out to get Kaito into play. Okay, this is super easy. We just take the Beanstalk and their hand is not bad by any means. So they've got double Brainstorm and a Force, but you always take the Beanstalk. If we get into a Force fight, like we want it to be with the Beanstalk on the stack. Okay, they're not forcing here. So they don't have removal, which makes me want to go ahead and stick Tamio, especially since I just drew a way to protect her. So this is risky because they could have Bowmaster, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. I would love to just have a good Brainstorm so I can put away the Fatal Push forever. Again, sorry my excellent friends for not boarding that out. That was a big oversight. They're brainstorming now, which is fine. They can get a perfect Brainstorm. It's worth noting that like if I Brainstorm to protect, then they can force and they prevent me from getting a 2-for-1, but they 2-for-1 themselves in the process. And I could, of course, force back, but I'm not going to force that. I'm going to try to get Kaito in on the table. A lot of people just, he's still not on the radar. Yeah, we're going to Brainstorm here, and I bet you they're going to force. So I will go ahead and get the Underground Sea here. Again, I think their deck is almost a completely non-basics. So we just need to be sure to get a Swamp before we use all of our fetches. Oh, wow, they're going to let it happen? That's fantastic for us. Okay, so I'm going to put this back. And wait, I would rather draw a land than have this Fatal Push sitting around. I know it's weird, but like we will be able to do stuff with our lands. Because the Plow whiffs. So now, unfortunately, we can't ninjutsu this turn, but we can ninjutsu next turn with one of our Bowmaster boys. They have Prismatic Ending. Do I force to protect? I don't think I do. I just take the 2-for-1. Yeah, I'm not gonna I can't interact there. Well, I mean, technically I can, but yeah, like that was a pretty bad Brainstorm in the sense that we had to do an imperfect Brainstorm, and we came up with even more land, which we didn't need. So we're gonna have 5 lands when all is said and done. But I can surveil, and I can still have the ability to get a Swamp with the subsequent one. And you do want to use the Verdant Catacombs first, because it can only. Well, it doesn't matter. It can't get the basic island. It's a very minor thing. Probably not even warrant mentioning. Okay. So we draw a land. Play this out. Plus here. We're just going to pass with Surveil up and a Bowmasters if they get too loose with one of those Brainstorms. Did they cast both of the Brainstorms? They did. They played out the Trop. So their hand is Misty, Force, 3 unknown. Fetching. If they Bowmaster at this point, I still think, because we know there's a Force in their hand, I still think it's worth forcing, Beanstalk. If they Beanstalk, it's still worth doing it. If they Bowmaster, that's fine. I'll let that resolve and then I'll Bowmaster back. Okay, so they are going to put a Ponder on top. Maybe. Yeah, that is a Ponder. Carpet is really annoying, but I don't think it's the fight. I'll just get the Swamp instead of a Surveil here to mitigate the amount of mana we give them. Maybe I don't. Maybe I just go for it anyway because I don't want to draw bad cards. This could be a Merc. 5 mana. Lorien revealed. So I think what we do here is we attempt to Bowmaster, and that puts pressure on the table. I mean, they're about to draw so many cards, but I think it's okay with Bowmaster. Then we can regrow Thoughtseize, get value off of Tamio. We're not going to be able to ultimate Tamio, and then we can strip whatever they have left. I do think that this is the fight. They're going to Hellbent. Then we can attack them. They don't know their top 3 after this, and so they're not going to be able to get the value. But they're going to have so much mana. We're going to have to beat them quickly. Okay, so I think I do want to get a Surveil here instead, just because we have such terrible cards. We can go get the Swamp later. It sucks, but yeah, I just want to avoid bad cards here. That is freaking phenomenal. We'll put that on top. We'll draw that, and then if they can get rid of this somehow, we'll just be right up in their face with it. So their hand is all 3 unknown, but we're about to know what it is. I'm going to play this out first. Minus here. We have to get the Thoughtseize just because we can't afford them doing anything too fancy here. And of course, we can't Thoughtseize the top of their deck, so they could just have some insane card. Their own Bowmasters is pretty good. I'm definitely keen to get that out of their hand. If they Triumph, they can hardcast it. Okay, so hear me out. We can Bowmaster their Bowmaster. We can attack in. Triumph may actually be a bigger problem because they will have the mana to hardcast it, and we don't have a clean answer to it. Yeah, I'll do that. And they have to choose between Bowmastering our Tamio or Bowmastering our Bowmaster. And I think they're going to choose Bowmastering our Bowmaster, and then we can use Tamio later. All right, and they can't use this Ponder in hand, so they could Bowmaster our Bowmaster, but Tamio sticks around. I don't think they're going to want that. 3 black. Okay, here comes the Bowmaster. Let's see what they target. Worth noting that they do have Hardcast Force up if they drew that. Okay, that's fine. They're still under Bowmaster Supremacy unless they drew a second one. That is a huge punt. They're just giving us their Bowmaster for free? I think they definitely should have hit our Bowmaster. That is my opinion. Again, I don't know exactly the contents of their deck or anything, but like in general, like cantrip into an active Bowmaster when you have a Bowmaster on the table is like a non-starter in my humble opinion. Because they're basically giving us an ability to clear this. You know, they did keep the cards on top, but like we're basically guaranteed Bowmaster Supremacy now, because even if they have another one, we've just got like so much pressure here. And they do have another one, that's fine. But I'm just going to Bowmaster that, and they're down to 1 card. I'm going to wait and see if they put a cantrip on the stack or anything before I Bowmaster back. Yeah, see? This is what I was talking about. Like I think that they should have just hit the first Bowmaster, and they wouldn't have had to go through all this. But we now have Bowmaster Supremacy right back, and we're going to be able to ping them. They're going to be under a lot of pressure. They're going to have to chump. And that Lorien Revealed, which was like a huge windfall for them, has suddenly turned into kind of an albatross because they weren't able to attain. I mean, they could just have the Bowmaster here. That's certainly possible. Okay, so I'm not going to crack this yet because if I draw a Brainstorm, I'm drawing wild. I want to be able to get rid of this extra land. If we can just bounce that out of play with like a, this is not particularly strong. Do we want to Brainstorm it back? I think we do. So this is a force block. They're Hellbent, so we can get a free damage. And now they crack, and they're pretty low in life. They're not even going to really be able to cantrip their way out of this. I mean, they may be able to, but it'll be dangerous. So taking white off the table doesn't really matter because they can just go get another thing. I think they will likely Surveil here. Yeah, I mean, they have so much mana. I'm just going to assume that it's not going to be effective to wasteland them. And I'll hold these in case I find a Brainstorm. They said, GG's. All right. And Neva, I hope if you're watching, the critique isn't too harsh or anything like that. But like my humble advice is just always ping the Bowmaster. And, you know, a Teferi with 1 loyalty on it is not that big of a deal. It's not an immediate threat. All right, see you in round. I do think that if they had pinged that instead, they were in a dominant position and they may have been able to win. All right, see you in round 2. All right, round 2, we're up against a very skilled painter player. 6 main deck blasts. This is the nightmare matchup. I don't think we can keep a red heavy hand or a blue heavy hand. Tamio's not going to get us there. Let's mulligan this, try to find black. There we go. This is pretty good. So I'm going to keep. They have Urza Saga in their deck. I don't think we can. I think we put back Daze. We're likely to draw other graveyard interaction. So we're on the draw. Daze is pretty bad on the draw anyway. The Ponder helps us ramp up. Wasteland deals with Urza Saga. Yeah, I think Daze is the odd card out. I'm getting so much server lag. I've already lost like a minute and a half. Okay. Painter. Very aggro start. So now it doesn't even matter that these are black. They can still be blasted. Looking for... Not that. I mean, there's a temptation for sure to just waste that and hope that they don't have any other mana. But that's like unlikely. Usually, they could just have like the combo. They could just turn to us. I think we have to respect that and we have to waste. I don't like doing this because they could just have an Urza Saga or something in hand. But they're on the play, and it's an extremely unfavorable matchup. I'd say this is probably like a 30-70. They did have a mountain. They can blast our land, which is pretty catastrophic if they do that. I think, out of respect for the ability to blast our land, I do want to go ahead and ponder here. All right, this is great. We don't want this days ever. I think I just take the Delta. Yeah, we'll just chill for a turn. We've already made a land drop. Next turn we can drop double Goyf and then spellbomb them to make our Goyfs bigger. If they blast our land, that's unfortunate, but we got another land coming. Okay, this is kind of what I was afraid of. Like, they could just have the Grindstone in hand, but at least they haven't played an Urza Saga. Urza Saga is like basically death because they can go get the Grindstone uncounterably. So I think we just go ahead and double crack and put Nethergoyf on the table. So that way at least we're presenting some sort of clock. Bolt, we can potentially force. They bolt one Nethergoyf, the other one grows, and we can bring it back. I don't think they're likely to have Blood Moon main deck. Let's see. I don't see any Blood Moon type stuff. Usually they don't do that. They do have 3 in the side. And that's not necessarily their list. That was what they were playing when they got 6th place at a Legacy Challenge, which was pretty damn good. Yesterday? Yeah, that's pretty. We're playing like a high-level player for sure. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get another Underground Sea here, if the server will allow it. I'm glad I'm playing a faster deck today, because if I was playing like, a non-tempo deck, then I would be freaking out about the clock, but hopefully we won't go to time. I didn't go to, I played a league before this and just got some pretty unfortunate pairings, and 2-3, I'm not sure if I'm going to publish that because it was just like very typical outcomes, like what you would expect when you pair into a deck with like 4 plows, 4 or 3 prismatic ending type things with a Nethergoyf deck. But that league was pretty rough, and I didn't go to time any of those despite the server lag. So hopefully I won't go to this time this time. I think they're probably experiencing server lag. I can't think of a reason why they would wait so long on a fetch. They could be multi-queuing and doing a challenge. I like preserving the surprise of the Nile Spellbomb. And our goal is to just beat them down quickly. For sure. Okay. They are bolting the first one. So if we force, we actually make this big enough to survive. But that takes away like all the interaction we have. I think we just have to let this go. And then we have a 3-4 instead of a 4-5 here. And we can bring it back later. I don't want to give up on being able to force something catastrophic just to save a Nethergoyf. And that may not even matter. Saving the Spirit Guide. Okay, this is a force. You don't let this resolve. I'm going to force the Tamiyo, pitch Tamiyo, and then I can Spellbomb to make my Goyf bigger. Okay, they didn't blast. That's good. So we now have 4 types in the yard, but we need a 5th type to be able to escape Nethergoyf. Bowmasters is pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and Spellbomb and max damage. Yeah, I'll go in for a hug first and see if they interact. I don't think they will. They probably won't block this. And then post-combat, I can just go ahead and crack. We drew a land. Not really what we wanted. But it does allow us to do we play a land? We already played a land. So we can't do anything here. I think we chill, and next turn we can Goyf. It's unfortunate that the timing is the way it is, because we may just be dead by then. There's the Grindstone. Do they have the mana to use it? Okay, we're getting a turn. They're coming in for a hug. So literally any mana source, and we're goners here, unless we find a Fatal Push. So I am going to attempt to ponder here. Fatal Push can be... I don't think these are keep. Thoughtseize... Yeah, I'm not worried about what's in their hand. I'm worried about what is going to come off the top of their deck. I'm going to attempt to just push here. Oh, that's so lucky. All right, we're just going to come in, and we might actually win. We're hitting them for 5. We have Bowmaster on deck, and then next turn we have Goyf coming back, which will shrink both the Bowmasters, but it's still not nothing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do this, and there's a decent chance that they just blast this or something. But it's too late for them to Fury it, and they are dead on board. Okay, we got it. Wow, that was epic. That's not going to happen very frequently against them. I'm so glad I mulliganed to a double Nethergoyf hand. I think if we kept that initial hand, that would have been catastrophic. So Engineered Explosives definitely comes in here. Hydroblast come in. I think Consigns come in. I think Consigns are totally reasonable here. And I think all 4 of them are warranted here. We'll take out Daze. I'm not a huge fan of Tamio in this matchup. We do need to keep the forces in. It's just it's a cost of doing business, basically. I think the Nile spell bombs are not that great. Like, there can be situations. Let's take a look at their deck. They are on the Welder and Engineer plan. So these aren't necessarily bad. They even got Chaos of Valor. Yeah, this might actually be important. Kaito doesn't come in because it's just so costly to get him out there. Like, at least Tamio is like a 1 mana. If they blast it, it like trades. They're unlikely to come after our mana in any capacity. I think we just take out the swamp. No, they could Blood Moon us, couldn't they? Yeah, we can't really do that. I'm loath to take out the island. I'm loath to take out one of the underground seas just because, like, that does bring us low in mana count, but we also need the wasteland, so I don't think we can make any substitutions, even though they're unlikely to go after our mana. So I think the correct substitution here is to take out some number of the Nile spell bombs, as much as I think they're good. Thoughtseize potentially good against the aggro deck, but we are on the draw. I'm going to take one of them out. I'm going to take out a Tamio. Let's do it. They don't play Chalice, so they do have a 7th blast in the board. They've got 2 Abrades, just tons of stuff to kill our creatures. Fury, I think Fury's probably coming in. I think this is a keep. We've got a Thoughtseize hand. We've got a Hydroblast. We've got a Bowmaster. Yeah, Bowmaster is one of the better cards in the matchup, surprisingly. Ancient Tomb. Blood Moon. Fable. Yeah, that happens. That sucks for us. But we can, we probably just have to go get Island into Hydroblast. It sucks, but I think it's correct. Engineered Explosives can blow up multiple things. Okay, so here's what I think we do. We can EE and blow up the tokens. I think I'm just going to Thoughtseize and I want to take a hit because it could be that they have something pretty important in hand. The other thing we could do is we could just... No. Yeah, I'm going to just blast this so they don't get the card selection. Also, I think it's most likely this will resolve now. It may not resolve later. And I don't want to deal with the actual flipped thing later. The flip thing is a nightmare. Yeah, it would have been great if we could have countered that, but we're on the draw. Okay. We got that. So they're going to be able to create clues and go to town, but we can blow them up. We can get kind of like a... Yeah, I mean, that was a 2-for-1. But we are going to be able to potentially blow up the clue if they don't use it with our Bowmasters if they decide to cast something else. Or with our EE. Okay, red mana, what are they doing here? Nothing? Okay, this is good for us. So I do think that this is a situation where we just pop the EE. And maybe they have some instant speed stuff they want to do, but I just want to minimize the impact of that Fable. They're floating white. It doesn't matter. They could have Plow. I don't know why they would do that. Maybe they're just trying to confuse us. They don't seem to play white in their deck at all. So just trying to confuse us, I think. Another one. Such backbreakingness. Okay, so we do have a Bowmaster, which is quite good. So what we can do is we can Thoughtseize, and then we can Bowmaster with the trigger on the stack. I need to take out... Yeah, I'm not going to hit that land. I'm going to save this for Urza's Saga. I'm going to Thoughtseize first to decide what to do. It sucks that we're doing damage to ourselves, but I feel like we have to. Okay, we'll take this. Their hand doesn't do anything now. Yeah, I think we just play this out, and we'll go ahead and fetch, but I don't want to expose this to... I don't want them to know about this in case they have, like, draw something to deal with this, to deal with my Bowmaster. So we'll do this during the upkeep before they draw. And the reason we do that is we know that they don't have anything that interacts with this. We want to get the ping on this so that they can't use the ability without losing their Shaman. So they can just not attack with their Shaman for a turn, and then that like kind of solves the issue. But they can't use this ability unless they want their Shaman to die. They have 2 duds in their hand, so they may just go for it. Their hand... Oh, they did for both? Okay, that's fine. So their Shaman dies, and then we get a ping on them, so our Orc army is bigger. They scooped. We beat the freaking Nightmare matchup. My goodness. I mean, it's probably not as bad as Death and Taxes, but it is a very unfavorable matchup. We're 2-0. See you in round 3. All right, round 3, where we're 2-0. We're up against an unknown opponent. We've got a pretty strong hand. I'm going to keep this. This is like both aggressive and it's somewhat disruptive. The Nile Spellbomb is great to just drop on the table. If they start mulliganing, I will just drop the Nile Spellbomb. If they don't mulligan, I'll just play another Nethergoyf. And we'll get more information about their deck. I mean, there is certainly a risk. No, I'm just going to go for it. I think this is the best play. Bowmasters is a mana away. Nethergoyf has been really strong for me, like in everything but the plow matchups, which this could be one. Uh-oh. I see some Spirit Guides action going on. Malevolent Rumble. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand. Put the rest into your graveyard. Create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn token with sacrifice this creature, add colorless. Okay, this will teach us a lot about the deck. I've never seen this card cast. That's the great thing about Legacy is you can play a lot. Like I play like, I guess if you average it out, I'd probably say I like to play like 5 or 6 leagues a week. And I still don't, I've still never seen this card in action. So cash grab, this is a cool kind of mill 4 cards, put a permanent card from among them, mill this way, control a squirrel, return to hand, create a food token. Okay, interesting. Once upon a time. So I think this is like some sort of Stompy deck. Squirrel Stompy? I have no idea. This is interesting. All right, so I think Thoughtseize is totally fine. We can learn more about their deck, and then we can drop a second Goyf. The card that they put in hand when they Malevolent Rumbled was... Okay, Grist. So we see Spirit Guide. Bloodbraid Marauder is like a... Okay, Bloodbraid, you can't... It's interesting. It's just like an aggro deck. Springheart Nantuko is probably the most potentially annoying card in here. Grist is not that big of a deal, but they do have a creature they can sack. They could play Grist. They wouldn't have a sackable creature, but they... I think Springheart Nantuko is just like going to create so many tokens for them. I'm going to take that. And now I'm just going to attack and see if they block. And then I think what I'll do is I'll probably just drop another Orcish Bowmaster. Let me make sure that they don't have anything that uses their graveyard in here. Yeah, I don't see anything that uses a graveyard. So if they don't block, then I can just fetch and do 2 damage instead of 1. I think that's free to do. Also, it's possible they're playing Blood Moon, but they're playing a 3-color deck, so I think that's less likely. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the Underground Sea here to maximize my options. And then we're going to play another, and we're going to try to tempo them out. I'm not going to Fatal Push a spawn token just to slow them down. I don't think it's worth it. I could have Bowmastered, but they would have just sacked it. We wouldn't have gotten any value. And I think being able to pressure Grist is going to be good here. Bloodbraid Marauder is an X1. So next turn we have Fatal Push and Nile Spellbomb to further buff our boys. Bloodbraid. Oh, okay, so this does have Cascade. Okay, yeah. So I didn't think about that. I should have freaking Nile Spellbomb there. That was a mistake. Now we've got this freaking Crashing Footfalls to deal with. I didn't think about that at all. Yeah, I think we've probably just lost. We can kill one of the tokens. This doesn't have haste or anything. Yeah, that was dumb. That was really dumb of me. I should have read the card. I didn't see the Cascade. I saw like that big block of text, Delirium. Okay, what's that mean? You know, but I didn't read that it would have mattered. Okay, so this was completely avoidable. All right, so here's what I think we do. We just Nile Spellbomb and for no value, and we drop a Goyf. We could Nile Spellbomb. I do want to kill this thing. So maybe a multi-turn line where we double block and then... Yeah, because we don't care what happens with his Bowmasters after... yeah, I'm just going to hit this. And then I'll just use this to block. And that'll buff our Goyfs. And then we have another Goyf coming next turn plus an instant. And I can double block one of these. And let's see, what do they have left? They revealed so many cards. I think they have Simian Spirit Guide and... oh, no, wait. Did they use Simian Spirit Guide? They did not. So they have Simian Spirit Guide, Grist, one unknown in hand. Drawing a land would have been nice there because we could have made the Goyfs bigger. Well, we could just... Goyfs are going to be bigger than these Rhinos pretty soon. But I think it's totally fine to throw one underneath. I don't expect this Bowmaster to do anything, is the thing, in that it buffs our Goyfs while also absorbing a damage, whereas so we don't lose a Goyf. If our Goyfs are big enough, then we just don't have to worry about these rhinos. Again, this was completely our own making. Okay, here comes Grist, I presume. Okay. So Grist is probably going to minus and kill one of these, and then we'll just attack and kill Grist. And we'll have big Nethergoyfs back. It would be prescient for them to plus instead of minusing. Yeah, they are. Okay. They've got a lot of card types in their graveyard. If they use that Simian Spirit Guide and they have another Blood Braid, we could be looking at another Crashing Footfalls, which I don't think we can recover from. They are choosing not to attack. Interesting. Okay, well that actually is good for me because I need time to set up. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to Spellbomb them and see what I draw, because that needs to happen. Because like every time they draw, they're potentially drawing that Delirium Cascade guy. Okay, that is unfortunate because I would definitely have liked to use that here. So we could just double attack at Grist and then we could push something to buff our Goyfs. I think that's fine. We're not, like, there's no point in holding back. They could double block one, but then we just buff and we kill. Actually, we could kill them both if they choose to double block here, because we push one of the rhinos and then we can kill whatever gets in the rhino's way. This does give them 2 types for Delirium, though. It's worth noting, so maybe we wanted to wait until after combat to do what we did with the Spell Bomb. I'm excited about this deck. Like, I've never seen anything like this before. I think they still have that Squirrel card in, like, cash in hand. Okay, so they're opting to block everything here, which is fine. We don't know what's in their hand, but it would have to be like, it can't be like a snuff out type of effect. They're tapped out. So I think I just push one of these, and then we kill the other one, and this dies. So technically they could like dismember or something if they want to sack that. All right, and that was a pretty good turn cycle. We got rid of both of their things, and now our Nethergoyfs are going to be huge, 5/6. They have nothing in their graveyard for Delirium. I feel like we're recovering from our punt quite nicely. If they attack with the insect token, I will... they should probably minus to kill our Goyf, but then I attack and kill Grist. So I guess they just plus again. Plussing also gets them closer to Delirium. Land for turn. I don't think they need land at this point, so I'm always happy to see land. I don't think their deck is particularly mana intensive. I could be wrong. Casting out the Elvish Spirit Guide. You love to see it. If they kill Nethergoyf, I can just bring him back. Like, he'll be pretty small, but it's not nothing. They are minusing. It's crazy how good this card is. Like, when it's good, it's really good. 5/6 for 1 mana that our opponent's like minusing their Grist to kill. If we can get this out of the way, we can kill Grist now. They might have a Dryad Arbor in their deck that they can fetch. That's worth remembering. Okay, so I think what we do here is we just start by a Ponder, because I would like to get this out of the way. If I can surveil one of the bad cards away. I think Bowmaster is quite good here. Yeah, we can attack with both, and then we can just Bowmaster and kill. These cards are great. I don't want the Delta, so what I'll do is I'll put the Ponder, then Delta, then Bowmaster. Okay, now we've got lots of cards next turn for bringing back Nethergoyf. So I think we just attack both at Grist, and then whatever happens, we're killing Grist. These Bowmasters don't really do anything. Again, Dryad Arbor is a risk. So if they block here, I just Bowmaster ping this, and this grows and kills Grist. If they have the Dryad Arbor, that's a bummer, though. Because it means I won't be able to kill Grist. They'll be able to plus again. If they have to block this, then this is dead and this is dead either way, basically, unless they specifically have Dryad Arbor. Okay, so Dryad Arbor, and now I do need to go ahead and just ping it because I don't want it to be able to block. And this forces them, I think... So this gets bigger, and now they kind of have to choose like to let Grist go or to lose this and get a hit on Grist. Yeah, that's a trade. All right. Well, my opponent played well, but we anticipated their line there, and we weren't punished, but like this does trade with, like it's going to be hard to kill Grist from here. Grist is just going to continue to create blockers every turn. Do they have Delirium? 3. Okay, another land, which you love to see. 3 mana in the pool. Is this another Spirit Guide? Yes! Haha, yes! All right. So Grist is annoying, but we will bring him down eventually. We're drawing Ponder, which can potentially get something like another Bowmaster would be all right here. Let's go ahead and Ponder first. These are not good enough. I don't think these do really anything. I'm going to any order shuffle. You have to like at least 2 of your cards to keep. This Fatal Push gets this out of the way, and then we've got a clear shot at Grist. But it doesn't really... Yeah, I think we just drop the Goyf here and we chill. They may just sack, but that would cost them their Grist. Yeah, I'll just chill. Another 5/6 on the table. Don't have good attacks. So they can keep creating armies and just infinite chump blockers, but we will eventually be able to get enough Nethergoyfs on the table that we can beat them down. It's going to be a grinder of a game for sure. Grist makes everything pretty challenging here. Brazen Borrower would be good. We could just borrow one of the tokens. What is this? Amped Raptor. All right. We have to see what this gets. Oh no, this can get that freaking card. Well, we'll see what they flip. Another Amped Raptor. Okay. So, how does this work? The next card, they have 2 more energy, but if they like flip a land or something, it just doesn't do anything, right? Exile a non-land card. Okay, so can't be a land. All right, they're plussing. They've re-amassed an army here without drawing a card, so we have not amassed or pinged anything here. They can multi-block our Nethergoyf if they want, or they can just chump. That's a bad rip. If they multi-block, I might be able to blow out the block. I'm just going to come in. I don't think it's beneficial to hang back. Let's attack Grist and see how many things they're ready to throw in front of it. Just 1. All right, that's fine. Now I'm going to go ahead and exile a card from our graveyard. I'm just going to hold this island in case we get a chance to play it out. So we're going to go sorcery, land, instant, I guess creature, because creatures are easier to restock than artifacts, yeah. And they'll drop to like 3/4s. But again, the moment that one of these dies, it's back up to 4/5. Okay, cash grab. Mill 4 cards. You may put a permanent card from among the milled cards into your hand. So this does dodge. You control squirrel or return a squirrel. Okay, create a food token. All right, I'm not sure what the food token is good for, but this is all part of the same resolution. So if they get they don't control squirrel, but if they return a squirrel, this chose Spring Heart Nantuko, which is, I don't like that card. It's just so much value. This is an unfavorable matchup in my humble opinion. They just have so much stuff, and meanwhile we're trying to like Thoughtseize and stuff. We got lucky that we were alive this long, really. That Nethergoyf was so huge. Malevolent Rumble. I can't interact. Oh, Hogak. That's going to be pretty dangerous. Is that death? Yeah, we definitely are keeping Nile Spellbombs in for this matchup. Yeah, the only answer we have to Hogak in our deck is Brazen Borrowers. We have 2 of those, and that's very temporary with the number of creature cards they have on the table here. Yeah, so many creatures. Hogak is coming out. Another Amped Raptor that I can't deal with. I don't think it's correct to do anything here. Just let it happen and see what they flip. They flip a bird. Okay, and that's going to be able to go get the point. And playing it out, we could try to get a little more even on clock. We're down a minute, but I think it's fine. We could probably hold off for like several turns. Okay, so engineered explosives is definitely something to consider. Hydroblast comes in. I don't think Harbinger is going to be that great. Like, it could be okay. Consign stops the trigger, but is that really where we want to be? I feel like Days on the play is good. The thing is, they don't really have anything force-worthy. Like, it's just a bunch of like mediocre cards, but like they get card advantage and then we kind of get buried. So I think we take out our forces. Could bring in Kaito. Kaito is not great against token decks, though. It's actually pretty terrible. But it is like a way to close the game quickly if we do get into a dominant position. I think explosives is fine. Wish I knew what this deck was even called. It looks like a modern deck, basically, but like Don't let modern decks fool you. Like, they can often just completely destroy you. Yeah, I don't think Consign's right here because it really only stops like the Cascade trigger, and we might be able to muscle our way through that. Daze, on the other hand, does seem pretty live, especially with the Wastelands. Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to just bring in one EE. Maybe just bring in one Kaito. I can see them getting jammed up in our hand. I don't think Harbinger's good. They've got like all the spirit guides and stuff anyway. Yeah, I think it's just like a few quick, clean substitutions for our forces. We're back in. This is a keep. It's not spectacular, but it's fine. I don't expect them to play Blood Moon in a 3-color deck. They certainly could. I think we just choose to start with tempo, and we Underground Sea into Spellbomb. We didn't see any Wasteland last game. I can't imagine them playing Wasteland in that deck. Maybe that's a failure of imagination, but I don't want to get screwed off my colors. We've got Daze, and we've got Orcish Bowmaster. I just want to get this out. This is nice because we can just hold it. We don't actually have to crack it. And then we have the ability to turn off Cascade with that creature on the stack. Actually, no, I'm not sure actually that we can do it with it on the stack because it's a cast trigger, right? It's a caster and an ETB. The spell has Cascade as long as there are 4 more types. When you cast this spell, exile. So it's a cast trigger. So we have to anticipate them casting. All right, my biggest hope is that they get greedy with their lands and we can punish that somehow. And then keep them in Daze territory for a while. But we don't have an aggressive plan. I mean, these cards are all very mediocre, frankly. But I didn't want to throw back a hand because I think every card will matter. And if we find a Brainstorm, we can put back the EE. It might be helpful later. This can blow up the Rhinos, though, if they get those out. It's clear that their graveyard is important to them because we saw Hogak and we saw the Marauder. So I think just proactively managing their graveyard and drawing cards is a decent enough strategy here. If they fetch a basic, that'll tell me their hand is really soft to Wasteland because I just can't imagine them doing that with a 3-color deck here. Okay, they did. Interesting. Daze is not necessarily the bee's knees because they've got spirit guides. Wow. I mean, I think we actually daze this. Permanent card from one. They could be looking for a land. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible that, but this like puts a bunch of cards in their graveyard too. If they have another spirit guide, that's really unfortunate. It's a 1-for-1, but they are going to be able to fill up their graveyard, but then we have to blow up their graveyard basically the next turn. Yeah, but if like this stranded them with the 1-lander and they were hoping to use this to get out of that, then this is really good. Okay, they have the guide. It happens. Like, don't be afraid of it. It's a 1-for-1. They have 8 guides in their deck, so it wasn't inconceivable. They chose the land. Okay, so we do know that they're land light. These other cards going into their graveyard is emblematic of them not having a lot of lands going on over there. And I think this turn, I'm just going to crack the Spellbomb and draw. I just don't want them to be able to Maraud. And I do want to draw a card. And if it's a Daze, that's okay. They do have the spawn now. All right, that's not great. These spot removal cards are pretty bad against them, but not as bad as Force of Will. Like most of their cards do 2-for-1 in some way. Like by the time we have priority, even if it's not like a ETB trigger. I'm not sure if they have any graveyard disruption or artifact disruption, but we may just park this at 0, depending on what they do here. Another one. Yeah, I mean, we do have a second Nile Spellbomb to clear those cards, but this is bad. So they have a 3rd land, so now Wastelanding is not correct. They reveal Crashing Footfalls. I'm guessing they're going to want to dodge that. Paseju, who endures, can kill an engineered explosives, but it does give us a land that we can potentially use. Bowmaster is really only good if we're sniping some creature. I'm not going to cast it otherwise. They have a ton of X1 creatures in their deck. There's the spawn. They may double spell this turn. They chose Bayou, so they are land light. They've chosen land twice in a row. They now have practically Delirium. They've got sorcery, land, instant, creature. Yeah. I mean, if this is the thing, they may actually get the Crashing Footfalls, which is crazy that we just spellbombed them and they've already refilled their graveyard. Crashing Footfalls. Okay, it's in the exile zone. So we're going to probably have to use engineered explosives to clean that up later. We do have a few turns. I'm going to go and pop this out so I don't forget about it. Okay, I think it's fine because I don't mind getting rid of some of these cards. Well, I think it's fine to just hit their graveyard now. Yeah, I'm going to hit their graveyard now. I know it's like not the most exciting thing, but it advances our game plan and potentially draws us a land. And they have like 4 or 5 types over there right now. We're not going to draw a force, but a daze might be relevant if they cast some like huge spell. And then when we find our Nethergoyfs, they're going to be big. Okay, daze, that might be relevant. Getting some server lag. We're both low on time, but I have to win twice in 10 minutes, 11 minutes. I built this deck to face combo, and I think I've faced 0 combo decks out of 2 leagues. Like this is the second league. So it's really weird. Like I'd say probably 60 to 70% of my matchups that I played historically have been combo. And then to be playing fair decks all day makes me wish I was still playing Stoneblade. Gosh, they just keep having these cards that fill up their graveyard. Maybe I'm playing wrong. Maybe I should just wait until they clearly have something in their graveyard that's good. But they just have... Now they've got 4 types again. Because they've got Grist. So they've got Delirium again. Their deck just gets Delirium like nobody's business. My goodness. They have a Bayou in hand. They've got a Great Furnace in hand. So, yeah, Artifact, Planeswalker, Creature, Enchantment, I think. So they've got like 5 types. Too bad I'm not playing Barrowgoyf. I could really get behind that right now. Okay. Exactly. All right, and now we just counter the Cascade. We counter the actual spell. We hope they don't have yet another Spirit Guide. I think this has to happen. We are not equipped. We could blow up these, but then we have to deal with these too. I just don't want to. I want to hold this for later. Okay, so we see Endurance in their deck. Hogak. These are all going back in their deck, thankfully. They're not going into their graveyard. All right. Let's see how nutty the draw was and whether they had yet another Spirit Guide. Okay, we stopped it. Now they've just got this creature that is easily pingable by a Bowmasters. And we do have this Crashing Footfalls, but we're not too far from stability. They've got, I believe, 2 lands in hand. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and... I don't know why I would wait here. I guess I will. I'm trying to think if there's any benefit to waiting. Yeah, I'll just see what they do. So 2 more turns till the Crushing Footfalls arrive. So we have to hold up 2 mana that turn cycle. Or we don't have Consign in our deck, so we can't counter it. But we can counter it with like a daze, but that would be during their upkeep. That's unlikely. Just going to go ahead and poke it. All right, we've got 2 creatures on the table. We can hit them. We could draw. We can't draw because this is an ETB tap land. We can't draw Kaito this turn. That would be a good draw though later. I have felt pretty crimped on mana, but a lot of that is because of the double days. But those days were crucial. We would be pretty screwed without a daze there. Okay, so this is 3 mana. What is this? Our opponent is pretty low on time, so there is a possibility they time out. That's not how I like to win, but I'm not too proud to take that. So we know they have Bayou in hand, and I think they've played out their Great Furnace. I think the rest of these revealed cards are not actually in hand. So, okay, Endurance. That is not good for us, but it's not the worst. We can just cleanly Fatal Push this next turn. We do need to put something in the yard to do so. I think wasting them is really unfortunate if like I have to do that. But I don't want to attack into this and let's see. Yeah, if I find a fetch, it's so good. I'm going to try to find a fetch here. Okay, we didn't find a fetch. I don't want to draw this ever. I can ponder it away next turn. I do need to play the... yeah, this Thoughtseize is probably pretty bad too. I could actually... No, I need the mana this turn. So I'll put the Thoughtseize back. I need to play quickly and not experience too much server lag, or we're not going to be able to get through this. Sadly, I think I do have to hit like a land just to be able to turn on. I don't think this game gets better with me waiting around. Let's put it that way. Okay, we lost about a minute there. More than a minute, maybe. It's still not done. I was like really ahead in terms of clock, and I just lost a minute. Okay. Okay, this may have been like 2 minutes now. I just want to show you. I've got like a 700 megabit per second connection. Like it's definitely MTGO servers here. Okay, let's put back. It's still doing this. My goodness. All right, we're back. My goodness. Let's hit the commercial district, I guess. Doesn't really matter. Fatal push this out of the way. Not how I wanted to use my mana. Attack and pass. I'm just going to F6 through the turn. One more turn before the Crashing Footfalls. Grist. Grist pluses. We poke, we attack. We can not kill Grist, unfortunately. Crashing Footfalls, we blow up the turn afterward. If I had more mana, I could do more here in terms of killing Grist. I don't really want my Orc Army to be blown up with everything else. I think I just play this out and just chill. And this army is going to get blown up. But these are not going to have haste. So unless they have exactly Yavam or Boseiju right now, they can't interact. I should have attacked in. It doesn't. There's like no detrimental value to doing that. I will attack in. Crashing Footfalls. They're casting Hogak from the graveyard, which is pretty catastrophic for me. I'm not sure that I can deal with Hogak. Like I have to. I'm not sure what. So they must have it in hand. Okay. They exiled a bunch of stuff. They've got a 8/8. If they plus here and create a thing, then I can blow that up along with the rhinos. But we still need to find Brazen Borrower, and they will be able to just cast it right back out. Well, they won't have creatures, but they can create creatures off Grist. We can't apply enough pressure to get Grist off the table. Another Rumble, so they're going to get more stuff going on here. Yeah, the deck is pretty cool. I mean, I can't tell if this is like a relatively lucky draw for them. The fact that they keep finding these things to fill up their graveyard. They're probably playing 8 of these types of effects. Maybe I was too aggressive using my Nile Spellbombs to manage, but I was just afraid of the Blood Braid Marauder or whatever it's called. Okay, they create that, and end step, still doing stuff. So they have Nantuko Spring Heart, or whatever it's called. Doesn't matter because they don't have any land, so I'll just blow up everything, end step, and then they'll still have this in play. So that loses its Bestow. We untap. I could poke here, but I can't get through this thing. The only thing that can save me, and it'll take 2 turns, is for me to find a Brazen Borrower. And I do think I need to proactively dig for that. I don't think these are good enough. Well, that's pretty unfortunate. So we could Bowmaster here, and I think that's better than just pushing that. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to take 8. And they're also going to potentially kill us with this Grist minus ability. That's another thing that we have to worry about here. But I don't want them to be able to create even more creatures. Yeah, so I think we're probably dead. Let's see. They have 5 creature cards. So they do 8. They can't quite kill us yet, but they're very close. And if they swing in, I'm just not going to block anything, and I'm going to send everything at Grist. I've got this ETB tap land in my hand, which is very unfortunate. Now they have 6, so we're definitely dead next turn. Spellbomb could be good. However, what could we draw here to get us out of this? Because we can't have both. We can't. I'm trying to. There's something that could do it. Yeah, I do need to hit this. And this does technically keep us alive for our turn cycle. Okay. Really wish I could put back some of these bad cards. I think we do all at Grist here. Our hand is like completely uncastable. We could Fatal Push just to make sure we don't lose one of these. Yeah, I think we have to do this. I feel like I'm throwing away so much value. Now they get to block. I passed priority because I was in a hurry. So we're not going to be using Fatal Push the way I intended. I can't afford to Thoughtseize the last card out of their hand. We just have to chill. Brainstorm next turn could be good. We're going to take 8 here. This has 0 creature cards. They can add 1. And then they can kill us the subsequent turn even if we bounce. Not necessarily. So it's really just Brazen Borrower. They put an Amped Raptor in the yard. All right. I think I am going to go ahead and just push this. It's a very sclerotic play, but I need to make efficient use of my mana, and I've already got 2 cards I'm going to put back if I find a Brainstorm. So Brainstorm into Brazen Borrower is really like our soul out at this point. They have another card they're going to cast here. Endurance. Okay, that's pretty catastrophic too. Not sure how we beat any of this. I think this game ended a long time ago. It's just frustrating because like at least 10 minutes of it have been me, like us staring at each other waiting for MTGO servers. All right, do we get the Brazen Borrower? That is death. Good game. Yeah, all right, let's see if we can do better in round 4. And I don't really have any takeaways from that because like leave a comment with the timestamp if you think there was some obvious misplay where like, oh, you totally overlooked this play. But it felt like they were just completely outvaluing me, which is, again, very common for Death and Taxes, Goblins, like any sort of fair non-blue deck is going to outvalue generally our anti-combo deck. Let's see what Lightwalker's on. Lightwalker often plays Death and Taxes, unfortunately. They're likely on Painter, and I like this hand versus Painter. I'm going to open Thoughtseize, and then we can interact with a lot of the stuff they put on the table. So there is certainly a risk that they pivoted off Painter, but they've been playing Painter so much for so many months that I think they're still on it. Best take would be like a Fable, probably, something like that. If they have the combo in hand, it'll be good to know about that. Okay, so they do have Fable. Goblin Engineer is super annoying. They don't immediately have access to Goblin Engineer, but they will. We could also just take the Pyroblast and answer the Engineer with a Force. I think we leave the Blast in hand, and I think Engineer is the take here. Because if they Simian Spirit Guide, this card is really annoying to play against. And it's tough enough to withstand Orcish Bowmaster. Yeah. So they are almost certainly going to Welder, and we're just going to Bowmaster in response, and then they're going to be able to Fable, and we're going to try to force their Fable. And then we'll have Fatal Push left over for, okay. So they have the Blast here. We can't really do anything about this. We just have to chill. Yeah, I was confident they were going to lead Welder, but they didn't. Okay, so unfortunately, I think this is a force. This simplifies the rest of the game for us. We have to wait for the Urza Saga to manifest itself. I do think it's fine to get on board. They are dealing damage to themselves, and we'll just take out Painter through some other means. Because next turn, if they want to start going up the Urza Saga path, I do want to go ahead and get my Brainstorm out of my hand right now while I have a chance. The other option is we just screw them off their colors. Because right now, they're not representing any colors at all. We waste this, they've got a disappearing land. I think I like that. And of course, if they just draw another land, then this plan looks really silly. But yeah, and then I'll save the Fatal Push and the Brainstorm for next turn. Okay, they did have a land. All right, here's the Welder, probably. Oh, they're thinking twice about it. This is pretty phenomenal. I'm gonna go ahead and attack first, and then we can just drop the Nethergoyf. I mean, we're just completely dodging their Pyroblast. So this series of draws was very fortuitous. It's worth noting that if they do find the land for their Urza Saga, we're unlikely to draw another waste, and Urza Saga tokens will be bigger because of this Grave Furnace. Okay, there's the Saga. Okay, so we're going to get another attack in. That's good. Brainstorm is off right now because they'll just blast it. This is not bad. I'm going to attack with everything. We can't make our creatures bigger through anything in our hand. So I think we just chill and wait. And if they drop off, I guess I could have surveilled there, but it's nice having two options up. Okay, so this Bolt is kind of crazy. I'm just going to Brainstorm now so I don't have to set a stop. I don't really care. I just don't want to get my cards countered. Another Bowmaster is fine. I think Bowmaster is better than Fatal Push at this point. Days might actually matter because they still have the Fable in hand. No, wait, we forced the Fable. All right, I'm going to put this back. I don't want this land at all. I'll put this push on top, and then we can shuffle later if we don't need it. The reason they bolted that is they don't want to make our Nethergoyf bigger. They do have the land. Okay. Well, I'm going to surveil. I mean, technically, Fatal Push could get rid of the construct and we can get some more damage through. Is that worth it? They're going to have to crack, take one. Then they tap. They create a construct. We attack for 4. Then they create another construct. They go get something. The alternative is we shuffle this away and we surveil and we maybe have a bigger Nethergoyf. I think I like doing that better than just fatal pushing this. That might be a greedy play. If you're a tempo player and you think that I'm greedy for shuffling away a fatal push that can clear a path for an attack, let me know. It is unfortunate that we don't... I mean, technically, if we just don't have anything else to do, we can attack and then we can Bowmaster ping to finish off the construct. I think that's probably fine. And that also grows our Nethergoyf for subsequent swings and gives us a path to escaping it. It is also entirely possible that I should have put back a Daze instead of the fatal push. I'll acknowledge that as well. They could still win. Like, they could just put the painter into play and have the thing and then have one more mana. That's certainly possible. They have painter. They also have pyroblast to kill one of our permanents. They have 4 cards in hand. They're probably lagging out, and that's probably why they're taking so long with this Delta. Undercity Sewer. That is a perfect card to put into our graveyard right now. Wasteland. Insane. Absolutely insane. I'm thinking about just hitting their Great Furnace. Now they have to decide if they want to fetch and do all this stuff, and then we can Bowmaster and just kill the thing and attack through it. And then this makes Daze super live. Yeah, they're in a very unenviable position here. Let's just go ahead and ping it out of the way. This might elicit a scoop. They're about to take a ton of damage. Their mana base is disappearing. We have Daze, which answers at least one of those mana. And they're very dead on board. Yeah, that was super duper clean. I'm glad I went the Bowmaster route instead of fatal pushing because there was more risk there. We did get paid out by binning the Tamiya though, for sure. That was important. Okay, so I think we've done this match. Did we do this earlier? Like, I won this matchup earlier at some point. I think the Consigns come in. They're good enough. Explosives, pretty good. Dazes come out. It's just not that great in the matchup. I think Tamiyo is easily cuttable here. I'll leave one Tamiyo in. So I think I did actually I didn't include Painter in my my matchup matrix. I think now Spellbomb is good enough that we keep all 4 in. It helps Nethergoyf, and it also just randomly messes with our opponent, who is clearly playing both Welder and Engineer. This hand is a keep. I like the high degree of interaction here. Spellbomb's not spectacular to have 2 of, but I'm not going to throw it back. And I'm not going to play like they have Blood Moon. They do probably play Blood Moons. 3. They're opening Grindstone, which is fine. We will stop the actual Painter. I think I'm just going to open Underground Sea into Ponder. Or I could actually just fetch the island here and then Ponder and set up our next draw. The alternative is, of course, I could instep Brainstorm here, but we're much more likely to resolve the Ponder right now. Yeah, and they can consign and we can force. Bowmasters is pretty good. We don't want this. We do want this. We don't actually have a way to shuffle these. I'm going to any order shuffle. Looking for Nethergoyfs. I think Nethergoyfs like probably the best. Okay, we're rewarded. That was the card I wanted. So yeah, I'm glad I shuffled that for sure. Nethergoyf is definitely the most powerful card in the matchup, though. They don't have like a really clean answer to it. It's a force. You always force this. I will pitch a Brainstorm here. Okay, we stop that. That's important. I'm just gonna chill. Yeah, they haven't put anything in the graveyard. We can chill with Bowmaster and Consign up. I don't want to have to force if we don't have to. If they put like, okay, yeah, that's irritating. It's already like those creatures are gonna arrive fairly big already. I'm gonna go ahead and keep the pressure on with the Bowmaster. I don't think it's better to like wait around. They could bolt this like they bolted my Orc Army last time to keep this out of my graveyard. Wasteland is now the best draw in our deck. They are considering doing something here. We'll see whether they tap off right completely. They have their own Bowmaster. I haven't seen Bowmaster in this deck in a long, long time. It doesn't immediately impact us, but it is pretty annoying. I'm almost certain they're going to blast this with the way they tapped. I think we just have to fall into this trap, though. Because, oh, okay, that's great. Why? So they may have been trying to psych us out, but our lack of fear paid off there. We'll just swing it like that. And now we're going to try to draw into a Wasteland. I'll take a fetch. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm just going to cast it. Would have been nice if I'd done it before, but I didn't have it in hand, so it doesn't matter. Right, Painter's Servant is a pretty obvious take. I'm not worried about Fury. That's a 2-for-1. Yeah, Painter's Servant is the obvious take here. Unfortunately, they do have ways to bring it back. But we have Spell Bomb. So if they want to like bomb their like Fury and blow up our stuff, like that's something they could do that doesn't take them off. My opponent said, "Can't wait to watch you draw your way out of this." There's a welder. Okay, so we have a Spell Bomb in hand that we can use, and they did tap off of Urza Saga. So we just need another Bowmaster here. Hydroblast does it. Oh, I think we just attack and Spell Bomb. And now when they attempt to activate, we can... my opponent said, so sad. Really is. My opponent said, always the same games with you, lol. Well, I hope you're learning. My opponent said, don't be sorry. All right. Thanks for the moral support. So, I mean, technically they could draw a Bowmasters here, and I'd be pretty sad that I didn't bomb their graveyard. But now I'm like priced into waiting. Oh, they can get freaking... oh, they didn't have it. Okay, good. I was like, Pithing Needle would have been devastating there. So this is a blast for sure. So now, yeah, like they basically have me dead. And when I activate, like I have to always be ready to crack that. I'm so lucky that they didn't have, yeah, I'm going to attack in. I don't really care if they kill my guy. I need to keep pressing damage. I don't want them to see what I have before I attempt to city sewers here. Let's do this. I mean, they could still win for sure. Not that far from like a Hardcast Fury. That is going to stay on top. Actually, you know what? That is really good because I can draw it and I can even cast it if they Fury. But the key is like this has to always be up. Like I can't use it for a draw, unfortunately. So they're just chilling with the Fury and the Bolt in the hand. They made a land drop, so they are very close to casting Fury here. So I'm just going to swing it again. And yeah, I just have to be super patient here. Fury wipes our board if they have a land. Okay, so they are milling me. This is a window for me to screw up, basically, is what this is. So what I can do is I can just ping this, and then it loses the ability to hurt me. But that also gives them a clean Fury that wipes everything. So I think I just have to let this happen. Okay, they're making my, if they keep doing that to test me, then they are going to make my Nethergoyf very big, and they're going to give me the ability to bring my Nethergoyf back. I'll just feel so much more relief when this Fury's not in their hand. Like if I can draw a Fatal Push or something, this is a really intense game. Ensnaring Bridge is fine. I have answers to that. So I'm just going to chill because I don't want to put my Bowmaster in harm's way. Like this is a window where I could kill, but I think it's cool to just keep attacking every turn. Eventually we will get a Brazen Borrower. One more land and we're totally screwed though with Fury. Gosh, I'm really thinking about what we do here. I hope they just... Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine winning this game, but they may give me an opportunity. So we could just Bowmaster and then attack here, but I'm pretty sure they'll still Fury our board. I think I'm going to wait one more turn. If we draw Hydro, we can stop Fury, but they may have... Yeah, I'm just going to be patient. This is probably a mistake to be so patient. I'm drawing like the worst cards. Yeah, we're going to come in for a hug again. Okay, the Bolt. I think now I am going to go for it just to do a little more damage because now they may not actually have the card in hand. I can hit the Welder. If they attempt to weld, then I have a clean response and I can draw a card finally. They're attempting to put Painter's Servant in. So now I think I do get the Spellbomb attack here. And this wipes it and they get to keep these. Okay, so I'm not sure if what I did was correct, but if I rip a Brainstorm, I'm going to be so rewarded for all this. So now the painter is no longer a legal target, so I don't believe the exchange happens. We're getting server lag. I'm going to draw a card. It's a Ponder. That's good. That dies. We do an extra damage here. They dropped to 6. I mean, they could just kill us. Let's see. I think I'm going to Ponder and see what I find. Because if I find a Hydroblast, it's so good. Nethergoyf. Man, like this brainstorm is really tempting. All right, so now we have brainstorm up. We could, in theory, like brainstorm into force of will on their fury. Keep our creature alive. Here comes fury. What alternative do we have? We let this resolve. They can't attack or anything. We borrow the ensnaring bridge out. We play it out. I feel like this game doesn't get any better for us. I'm just going to let this happen. It can't attack yet. Their hand is unknown. Because they used the bolt, right? They bolted one of our guys. Beargoyf is actually going to be... Or Nethergoyf is going to be big enough that it can indefinitely block fury. Okay, there is a way we can win. Did we? No, we didn't board in Kaito, did we? I think Nethergoyf is a better draw than nothing, and we need to put a card back. So Tamio, did we see a Tamio earlier, or did I shuffle that away? I may have shuffled that away. Let's go ahead and brainstorm here. There's a Tamio. Tamio is our path to victory here. We don't have ninjutsu, unfortunately. I'm just going to put back these lands. These are terrible here. We're going to Tamio here. And I'm going to also drop a Nethergoyf. Maybe I drop both Nethergoyfs just so we're like ready to party as soon as we borrow this out of play. There will be no way that they can survive. Maybe that's overly aggressive. But they can't attack. Yeah, we're just chilling. They can win at any time if they find a painter, and nothing changes that. There, good game. Okay, so we can go to the next game. Yeah, nothing would have changed that. Brainstorming wouldn't have saved us there. We wouldn't have brainstormed into a force. Actually, we don't know that because we would have shuffled, but okay. How do we change this? I think on the play, Daze comes back in. No. Engineered Explosives doesn't actually blow up a lot of their important things. It does blow up the constructs. Yeah, I think we keep the deck as is. So what I was saying about Kaito, had Kaito been in our deck, we could have Tamio'd and gotten damage that way, but that seems like such a... Oh, this is a great hand, I think. Yeah, I can get basics. Then we have lots of consigns up. I think this is fine. This is not a fast hand, but it's going to fill our yard, and then when we find a Nethergoyf, which we have to have faith that we will eventually find one, it'll be really strong, and we can take whatever their earliest action is. Again, I'm going to respect Bloodmoon because they've shown they have 3 of them in their sideboard. They may not be bringing them in here. That might be... Okay, Goblin Engineer is the obvious take here. It's so good. It's not a turn 1 play. I'm just going to live in the world where Grindstone... Well, let's see. They can't Engineer. Maybe we do take Grindstone because then we can consign. Yeah, I'm just going to take the Engineer. I don't want to have to think about it. Okay. Engineer is a really good card. Okay, Grindstone's out. We do have Engineered Explosives that can take care of that, but that's it. I'm going to chill just in case they play a 2-drop here that can be consigned. Like if they somehow ripped Painter, we need to stop that. Okay, I'm going to Surveil. I think this is not necessary. We know it's answered with Pyro. I think I'm going to go ahead and Ponder just to get this out of their hand so we can maintain forward momentum. They may not blast it. They don't blast it. Non-spell bombs above average. I think we take one and we just deploy it next turn. And we'll pass with the ability to go get our island and consign something around blast. We've got tons of mana here. So this is going to be a blue card, and then we're going to consign with cast with Replicate. If this doesn't work, we're dead. If they have double Pyro. They have Pyro and they have a Pyro. All right, well, that sucks. But they don't currently have the mana to stop this. So we did get a 2-for-1 there. Badlands. I think they had 2 Ancient Tombs. They still have Ancient Tomb in hand and 1 unknown. So, yeah, this is the Fatal Push turn. And we're also going to close off the out after we've Fatal Pushed. Okay, so what I can do, I'm not going to get fancy. Okay, they've got 1 card left in their hand. I was going to get fancy and activate and then push with that on the trigger and on the stack and all that stuff, but I think that would be a mistake. I don't think we need to get fancy here. All right, I think it's okay to just keep more forward momentum here. I'll be patient. Our top decks are probably better than their top decks at this point. It's a good top deck. I think I'll hold this. Yeah, we don't have any big mana plays in our deck other than Force. And this now Spellbomb, we're always going to basically have an opportunity to use it if they put something on the stack. They're getting some server lag probably. And now we have a pretty good answer to Fable if they draw that. The one card I don't want them to draw is, okay, what is this? Blood Moon. So not really a lot of merit in just going and doing anything here. I think we let this resolve. I don't need to take this damage. It may be advantageous to have an extra land in the yard into thin. Okay, and then I'm just going to Bowmaster to end step. That's fine. This does shut off us playing Borrower, but it doesn't really shut off anything else. So we're coming in for a hug. Their lands are no longer doing damage to them. So we're just going to try to beat them down. We need to keep that island untapped at all times. This can happen. Hopefully they don't have... I mean, technically, if they do have Fury, we can just consign the trigger. But that's not, like, strong. But I just want to get them dead. Yeah, consigning the Fury trigger, as sad as that is probably what we would do here. I don't think we're going to be able to fetch. I want to max on consign trigger activations. Just in case they have, like, tons of pyros. Okay. Looks like we're kind of in the clear here. We're going to swing for another 4. Fatal Push is some further insulation against them winning out of nowhere. This Blood Moon does shut off their Urza Saga, which is one of the scarier things they can do here. That is totally chill. Please. I guess I don't understand the rationale behind doing that. Like, why would you help me by filling up my graveyard? All right, so this does wipe our board. Is this the consign? They're evoking it? Why would you evoke it? Deals 4 damage divided. Okay, so I'm going to just go boom, boom, boom. That is sufficient. They can't have enough blast to stop all that. Okay, so we're choosing the right trigger. We will double replicate. Then we just same targets it. Yeah, you always have to be very careful about hitting the right targets here. Now I think they probably lost. I'm trying to think of what they could do here. I don't know why they evoked it. Did they not have enough mana? Let's see. Oh, I guess they don't have enough mana because of the nature of these, and they had to do something quick. So they could still Painter us here if that's what they have in hand. But we do have Fatal Push for Painter. Okay, now Fury dies. And we're back to swinging. I'm going to keep this now spell up. I'm not going to flinch. Let's go ahead and attack with all creatures. They don't have access to black mana, so we don't have to worry about Bowmasters. That could be one of the cards in their hand. 3 life. Let's chill. End step, I will brainstorm just to get, because I'm choked on blue mana. So this resolves. We have to hope that they don't have the blast. They're dead if they let this through. But I can't flinch. I can't do anything. I can brainstorm here. I think it is correct to go ahead and brainstorm here. They've got 2 cards in hand. They actually don't have enough mana to grindstone me currently. We'll see what they do here. They pyro this. They're pyroing that. Okay. I think I am going to go ahead and attempt to push now. So we get our brainstorm. Pyroing again. Targeting our brainstorm. That is okay. And now we will push and we'll attack for 2. We could still die here. It's not a lock. A Bowmaster would be a lock. My opponent said, I cannot believe the draws. Nice job. All right, so let's go ahead and attack for 2. So I have the emergency Nile Spellbomb into Force of Will here if I need it. They can only draw one thing. They can't draw an interaction spell. If they draw... it's important to note that I can't force if they just draw another Painter Servant, but they won't have the mana to activate. GG. Wow, we beat Painter twice this league. We're on fire. Final round. Round 5, we're up against an unknown opponent. They could be on Reanimator. They have played it historically, but that's all the information I have. Call me extremely conservative, but I think what we do is we just open Swamp Thoughtseize, and then we have Spellbomb. If we need it, we have Nethergoyf. Yeah, and then we'll eventually draw into a blue source. But I do want to get Nethergoyf on the table, beating face. And Thoughtseize will tell me whether I need to Nethergoyf next turn or Nile Spellbomb if I don't find a land. If they're on Delver or something like that, that's bad. Because we'll be doing 2 damage to ourselves and taking the 3 damage with this fetch. But I'm not going to risk fetching a non-basic and pondering here. Actually, I mean, if we just ponder, we can potentially find a second land. But I feel like we have enough that we can do while we're waiting around for the second land to arrive. Yeah, I'm going to Thoughtseize. Okay, they're on a very similar deck to what we're playing. Well, they do have the Wasteland, so we would have been totally punished, and this would be a non-game had we proceeded. I may actually take... So, they don't have a Nethergoyf face up, so it doesn't necessarily hurt to just take the Spellbomb. Spellbomb would be bad, because it would shrink my Nethergoyf to the point where it could be killed by an Orcish Bowmaster. However, whatever we do next turn is likely to get dazed anyway, and I probably want that to be a Nile Spellbomb. I'm going to take the most impactful card here, which is Orcish Bowmaster. That card is the best against our deck overall. All right, and now we'll pass. And I'm glad I went that route. They're fetching. Probably just going to Thoughtseize us. They're Underground Seeing here. So if we draw a Wasteland, we can punish them. They may not have another land. I think they probably take the Nethergoyf because that's what I can immediately cast. Yep. Now they're going to have to daze the Nile Spellbomb or let me resolve it, and then I'll be able to cantrip through it. We didn't get a land, so this is the only thing we've got going on here. Okay, we're in. So we can cantrip through this, and we can wipe their graveyard, which, assuming they are playing Nethergoyf, is good. There's the waste. They're pondering. So that was the draw for one of their turns. And if they were playing an unfair deck, we would be in a really strong position. But because they're playing a fair deck, we're not in a strong position. All right. So options. We could play a Nethergoyf, or we could just try to draw and get a land. I think I want to do that. We did not get a land. Okay, so we're chilling. Yeah, not a lot to be said here. We're just going to chill. They are finding plenty of land, but they don't have a threat on the table, so it's not that big of a deal that we don't have land. Please give us a land. Okay, we got a land. It's going to get wasted. Here's my thinking. We want to go ahead and just ponder. Maximize looks at another land. I'm too scared to brainstorm here. Brainstorm will be better once we've found a basic land. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and ponder here. They know that they could force this and keep us and then waste us. This is perfect. So I'm going to take the daze here. And that way I can fatal push and potentially daze if they waste. No, there's not a legal target for... yeah, I can't do anything about this. I know I'm drawing a land, and I don't really want to just yeet my Nethergoyf into the void, especially considering they're about to Nile Spellbomb me. So I think we just pass. Okay, they're bombing us, which is good. I mean, we had to get this out of the way sooner or later. It's unfortunate they're doing it now. Well, it wouldn't really matter because we don't want to play an X1 Nethergoyf out there because it could get pinged. They're fetching. They have succeeded in filling up their graveyard pretty quickly, and Murktide could be pretty dangerous here. We don't have a clear answer to Murktide. If they put any creature on the stack, I am going to attempt to push it just to be mana efficient here. We've got 5 cards in hand. Yeah, we can't do anything about that. All right, they're passing. Now we get our land. If they have a fatal push, I welcome a push here. I actually think we open Nethergoyf because they still have a daze in hand. And then they daze the Tamio, and that's not a big deal. We've got a backup one. This makes the best use of our mana. I'm going to play out the Tamio here, and I'm going to hope that they daze it. I don't want to play around daze forever. Okay. So they let our Tamio resolve, which is interesting. There's a brainstorm. We are unlikely to have a land next turn, so dazing is fine here. If they give us a window, they should presume that we could have daze here. That's fine. Right. So they're definitely representing Orcish Bowmasters here. That's a good draw. Just going to go ahead and attack here. Create a clue. I'm going to pass with Brainstorm up and other potential interaction. Clue crack. I just don't want them to have efficient use of their mana this turn. Okay, they're shuffling. So they did draw one of the cards that they brainstormed back. So they got an imperfect brainstorm, but that also means that they liked what they saw. Hand is Force of Will, 5 unknowns. Shoot the sheriff. I'm going to attempt to brainstorm here to save her. They could force this. They are forcing it. So let's think about this. We could rip a force of our own, but that would mean that we tap out of clue. If we found a force, will we force knowing that they could have a second? Wait, did they ever use their days? They never used their days. So I'm just going to let this happen. And now we get the, oh, we don't get the brainstorm. It's fine. So this is dies. We can end step draw. I just want to make sure if they cast something that is days worthy, that we have the ability to daze back. I don't really want that to resolve. Kind of tempted to just daze it. Because if this resolves, we lose access to Nethergoyf. They get a card. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this to convert. I don't know that daze is going to get a lot better as the game goes on. Okay, that worked. In step, we're going to draw. I think drawing is better than surveilling here. Okay, now Spellbomb is great. This is fantastic, actually. Second one is fine, too. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to play out Atomio, play out a Nile Spellbomb. I'm going to go ahead and Spellbomb them now, just to reduce the likelihood of them being able to mark next turn. That is important. Draw a card. Wasteland will not be completely dead here. Probably help us get a Nethergoyf out around. I'm not going to fire a Wasteland at them at this point. It's fine. Really, the only thing that scares me about their deck now is the likelihood of them having Murktide, because they haven't shown Nethergoyf. It's fine. We have an answer to this. It's a 2-for-1. Or it's still a 2-for-1, but it's not that big of a deal. Wastelands. We could start wasting them and just double waste them. They're down to 2 cards. And then while they're dirtling around, we could take over the game. The other option, of course, is we exile a bunch of stuff. We get a Nethergoyf. I think I am going to start wasting them. I'm going to Fatal Push just to make sure this dies. Go after the tap land first. They've got 3 cards in their graveyard. Just thinking in terms of like, what is the possibility of a Murktide here? I think I'm just going to attack and then I'll play out the Nile Spellbomb. And we'll just have, I mean, I could just go ahead and crack and draw. That is more mana efficient to go ahead and just draw now. And I can do that around the possibility of a Fatal Push. Yeah, and then we'll play this Nile Spellbomb next turn. Daze is a good draw. Now that they're down to 2 lands, and pretty soon once they're down to 1 land, Daze will be really good. But we are tapped out, and we think that they probably have a Daze in hand. What did they pitch to Force of Will? So there's the Nethergoyf that we expected. This will not be a threat once we nuke their yard. Okay, they had another land. Now I'm not sure that wasting them is the correct path. Hitting us for 1. This represents the ability for them to get at least some toughness on Nethergoyf. Our Nethergoyfs are much bigger. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the Wasteland out. Nethergoyf here. I'll play out a Nile Spellbomb. I should have done this in a different order and kept this land tapped so I could have Daze mana up. I'm going to attack. They may be planning to kill my Tomio here. I think I want to go ahead and fire off this Wasteland now in combat. Okay, they let it go. So they can't attack with Nethergoyf out like this, but they could Murktide. If they fetch, once that goes to the graveyard, then I will Spellbomb them. And then we have a... Okay, they're going to go ahead and fetch. I'm going to let them do this, and now they have a window. Yeah, I should have said a stop. They can Murk here. I can Daze a Murk. I'm going to just do it in the... if they attack. Okay, I am going to go ahead and do this now. And I can decide whether to float after they decide whether to cast a... Okay, we drew... Oh, that's pretty good. So now we can potentially Bowmaster ping this. But I suspect that they would just Daze to protect it. Oh, wow. These are good cards. I think we just attack with both. Keep our Bowmasters up. Yeah, these Nile Spellbombs have been absolutely clutch. Yeah, I'm going to hold the Bowmaster. I don't feel any pressure to play this. The reason is that like a Daze, which they could very well have in hand, or any instant will keep it alive if we Bowmaster ping it. There's a Wasteland. I am going to go ahead and just do a Bowmaster ping here. I'll just ping them. Okay, scooped. Wow. That was a slog. Like from one land, I think we just got like a few value trades. Tomio drawing, those clues. 3 Nihil main deck, lol, is what my opponent said. Okay, so Engineered Explosives is quite good against what they're likely doing. Kaito is great. I think we bring in the Kaito. We're going to take out our Thoughtseize. Take out our Forces. We can take out our Dazes and just replace these with like higher card quality cards, but we don't really have any. I think Engineered Explosives is quite good. It's, most likely just a 1-for-1, but it could be a 2-for-1. I think Thoughtseize is probably better than Force here. Force is pretty bad. I don't think Harbinger's good. I'm going to do 1 Force. Maybe on the draw. Actually, maybe we shave a Daze or 2. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 Forces, 3 Dazes, 2 Thoughtseize. That's the split we're going to go with. All right. So this is a bad hand. If they have... But I think every card matters, and these cards are okay. We are going to be able to waste them. They're not going to... Okay, and immediately they're giving us a wasteland target, and I think we go for this. It just buys us time while we draw into other cards, and we don't want to get our 1 source wasted. We want to draw into a second one that can go get a basic. EE is fine. Let's go ahead and waste. And a lot of times, like, if an opponent is not sufficiently paranoid about wasteland like I am, you can get them sometimes. Okay, they should fetch a basic here, but if they don't, I'm here for it. Tomio, I don't mind wasting with Tomio on the table. She creates clues. We can always blow up the clues if we need to. She doesn't do anything if they're mana screwed. I'm going to just waste. I know that it's questionable wasting while they already have something on the table. I'm just trying to buy time here. Tomio will not fix mana screw. It takes 2 clues to do that. The fact that our opponent fetched, yeah, they're freaking manaless here. So this is working out the way we wanted. Don't play a land. All right. Haha, we got them. Right now, I'm just going to play this. They could just be like, well, actually, I have a wasteland. But I can't think of a reason why they wouldn't play out a wasteland there. Kaito is great, but we just need to find land. We have 3 Kaitos we're drawing to. Okay, they do have a wasteland, so we're in the dumps with them, except they're getting a clue every turn. So we're not favored now. This is exciting. The mirror for the final round. We still didn't get any combo matchups. I was hoping to go with the combo at least a little. All right, so I think at this point, I'm just going to get an island, because this can only fetch island, and I'm going to do a Tomio on my own. And then we're going to hope to draw to more land before they do, so we can start cracking our clues before they do. They force. They force. Love it. They did find a land. They've already used their surveil land, so this just represents, 1 mana of any color. They haven't started cracking clues yet, but once they do, we're like in trouble. Swamp. Yes. All right, so options. 1, we just Thoughtseize, see what's in their hand, take out the Daze, and then we have Bowmasters. Bowmasters is quite good against them. Yeah, I want to Thoughtseize. I don't want to push yet because we need to make sure that she actually dies. They brainstorm. That doesn't really solve any problems. They have a Kaito here. They have their own Bowmaster. They have a Force. What is important? I think the Bowmaster is pretty good here. I don't mind them pushing our Bowmaster because we're going to get ahead in cards. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. And we are going to go ahead and play out our Spellbomb. Next turn, we can cast our first Bowmaster, which will hopefully get forced. They're not drawing land. This is great. We've got our basics. They don't. All these clues in the world are not worth a thing if you don't have the mana to crack them. Another land would be great. So options. Whatever we put out is going to most likely get Fatal Push here. I think I'm just going to play this out. And they push. No. I want to main phase this. Minimize the likelihood of them having a Daze. Now they can't crack the clues. Cantrips are harder. They'll probably just end step push. But they may be afraid of Daze. Looks like they're going to go for it. Yep, that works. And you may be asking, like, why'd you do that? I wanted to be mana efficient. I wanted to minimize the chance that they could just answer it with a Daze. Okay, they have a second land now, so now they can start drawing. All right, now pushing her is more dangerous. They're cracking. They may crack immediately. Yep, clue crack. I do think it's worth hitting their graveyard here now. So we did get rid of their... I think I want to play my Tamio out. I do want to hit their graveyard now. I think I'm going to hit their graveyard first. Let's draw. Can we get a land? We got a Kaito. That's good. Okay, now I'm just going to Tamio. So we have something to Kaito next turn. That way, if they push one of these or counter one of these, you know, we'll still have Kaito. Kaito is going to be really good here. But if they have their own Kaito first, that's really bad for us. But Kaito kills Kaito if they minus or do anything. They have 5 cards in hand. Okay, we're not going to get Kaito this turn. That's good news. Dismember. That's okay. I might just engineer explosives to blow up all their clues. If the game is going to go long, that is something we can do here. Engineered explosives kills a flip Tamio if they flip. We just need one more land and then Kaito can come in and take over the game. And their deck is very bad at answering Kaito. 4 cards left in hand over there. Their life total is pretty low. We may be able to sufficiently pressure their life total with Orcish Bowmaster to end the game before they can even cash in those clues. All right. Send it in Tamio. Brainstorming. This is fine. I am not worried about this at all. Yeah, if we get Kaito in... Oh, they do have the 3rd land. So now they don't have an attacker, though, which means they can't Kaito, and we're going to get Kaito first if we find land right now. Damn it. All right. So I think what we do here... Oh, my instinct is just to Bowmaster and attack. So if we Bowmaster, we can do extra damage to Tamio. We can also ping Tamio. If they force, we can force pitch Kaito. And then we have days up. Okay, I'm glad they didn't make us do that. And you could be saying, well, shouldn't you just be attacking them because they're low in life? I think you should always attack a Tamio because Tamio debuffs your creatures anyway. So now, unfortunately, we're heavily priced into forcing their Bowmaster if they have one. And they could potentially force back. Yeah, I think that's okay. If they just crack a clue, I'll be happy because we need to tempo them here. Oh man, I really need a land deck. Really need a land. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just attack Tamio. Actually, if we attack them, we can use the minus ability and we can just ignore Tamio. They can regrow a bunch of cards that don't really matter that much to us. So we hit them for 3. And then next turn we can just explosives if we really need to. Yeah, I want to dig. I think ending the game quickly is one way we can prevent them from cashing in on all the value that they have on the table. They have a tremendous amount of table value. They take 3. We immediately cash in. Or we could buff. I think I'm going to cash in. Spell Bomb seems pretty good. This is a blue card. Yeah, I'm going to keep both of these on. I'll put this on top, and then I'll draw this, and this will be my pitch to force, and then I've got Days and force up. This is going to be tight. Also, it's worth noting I'm like way down on clock. So, combination of me playing slower and server lag. Borrower has to be forced. It's fine. Use up that mana, please. Bowmaster would represent 2 potential blockers. They're plussing Tamio. Merc, I think if we just daze this, I invite them forcing back because I can just stun this and attack them. Do we force? I think it's fine to force. We've got engineered explosives to deal with Tamio. If they daze back, this will be bad, but they would have dazed first instead of forced. All right, we stop that. That's great. Okay, so here's what I think we do. I think we just plus. We're going to hit them for 4. They'll be at 1. That dramatically restricts their options. Now we could just drop this for 1. And then we could blow it up. Okay, they scooped. We did it. Haha, yeah, 4-1. Despite not finding a single combo deck to fight. We just want to fight combo. Come on, MTGO. That is 10 consecutive matches where I was up against fair. And I will tell you, like, I did play this, like, I didn't get a 4-1 the first time around. I just hit some really bad luck. Like, I got a 2-3. So that means that if you add those up, it's like a 6-10 or a 6 out of 10 record, 6-4 record. But the first time I was playing this deck, like I had to adapt to the more aggressive tempo strategy and stuff. So I didn't publish that league because I was just like, and it was like a bunch of prismatic ending decks. I was like, I think I faced like 3 prismatic ending Swords to Plowshares type decks, and those decks are almost always going to beat you. There is no deck that is good against everything. That's the main thing to acknowledge. And when you go more tempo-y and you play 4 days, you're giving up a lot of ground to Jeskai control, for example, which is basically the Nightmare matchup. If I had to list like the Nightmare matchups here. Okay, so I'm just going to list the ones that I think are favorable. Actually, I tweeted a while back about this, I think, but I'll just do it verbally. I think this is 50-50 basically. Thoughtseize is really bad against Threshold, or against, they call it Canadian Threshold. Rug Delver. Dragon Stompy, I think this is probably 50-50. We have basics. We have lots of like disruption. Eldrazi, this is probably 50-50 too. Some people will tell you this is favorable, but like Eldrazi is pretty rough. Obviously, Dimir Tempo is going to be 50-50. Death and Taxes, this is like a 10-90. Like, I don't think we ever win against Death and Taxes. Like, even with my more controlling build that's got Baleful Strix and stuff in it instead of Dazes, like, I still lose consistently to Death and Taxes. Especially the new Death and Taxes. This deck's gotten a lot better. Let's take a look at Morsaw. Friend of the channel, a frequent brewer in the Vial space. You can take a look at their list, and you can see that they are playing Overlord of the Baelmerk, Velia combo, which just generates so much value you can't keep up. They have the 4 Solitudes. They're not on Yorion. Interesting. And then Beargoyf as just like another creature. But this Ketramos creature is just insane. It is really, really strong, and it's hard to disrupt. It's not a creature. Like, really all you can do is bounce it out of play. It's indestructible, so we can't kill it. And they just draw so many cards. And if the game gets to this point where they're casting this, which if you look, they're playing lots of basics, 3 plains, 2 swamps. It will get to this point. You're not going to close fast enough to dodge this. So this is, I would say, the worst matchup right now is probably this. I do find myself like, I always considered Jeskai Control to be a really bad matchup, but actually I think Kaito flips it, and I think it's not that bad. I think it's like maybe like a 40-60. Going back to the other aggro decks, we don't really have to go into these other ones, but if we do go into control, this UYX, this is basically Jeskai. It's not favorable. Like I said, I think at post board with the Kaitos in, it is like a 40-60 matchup, or maybe like a 35-65. Stiflenut, I think, is fine. I think that's like a pretty even matchup. But they do have prismatic endings. So I would say this is on any deck that's playing prismatic ending is unfavorable. And you can see that they are playing prismatic ending. The reason prismatic ending is so backbreaking is it's just like plows number 5 through 7. And usually you don't see people playing all 4. Some Jeskai decks might play all 4, but it's so backbreaking because it's just, you really need your creatures to pull ahead. You need your Nethergoyfs to be able to like at least be cast from your graveyard, because you can creep up and catch up with other control decks if you're bringing back your Nethergoyfs. But if you're not even getting an opportunity because the Nethergoyf is in exile, that's really bad. Prismatic Ending is also really irritating when you flip a Tamio and then it's like they just pay 1 mana. It doesn't matter whether it's a creature or a Planeswalker. Her Planeswalker status does nothing to protect her, basically, against Prismatic Ending. So Prismatic Ending is a very good card against tempo decks. And I fully expect to lose when I'm a tempo deck and our opponent has Prismatic Ending in their deck. So I would say that this Stiflenut is probably like a 40-60. But I think that we're really strong against anything that doesn't have prismatic ending in it. Like I'd say even like a traditional like 4 plow, like, depths. Well, it's not favorable, but it's like a 40-60. But where we really just crush is these combo matchups. Like Reanimator, I think we're like 60-40. Even against like the most powerful blue-black version. I think that like the current build that we have over here, let me just show it again. These now spell bombs are incredible. They're incredible in the tempo mirrors as well. Cephalid Breakfast. I mean, this is just like a face-up answer to the Breakfast combo, and then you just have to stop Nadu. Oops All Spells. This deck is really annoying because sometimes you do everything right and you still lose. But we do have a second Force of Negation in the sideboard. Like, really, I do think that this should be a Hydroblast. So I think that's the change that I'm going to make here, because Hydroblast is good against Moonstompy, and like Force Negation. I lost a game. I think I lost a game. It might not have been in this video. It might have been in the one that I didn't publish, the league that I didn't publish. Like, I'm always recording, by the way. If you're ever like, do you ever just play and not record? Like, if I'm doing really badly, like if I lose the first 2 games and I'm just like, oh, this is a wash. Like, nobody wants to watch a video where I just lose twice, even though I usually am able to like rally and get to the 3-2, the positive record. I haven't had to pay to play MTGO for a while because I've just been like, I guess keeping above like the, going infinite, as they call it. And I'm proud of that. But like sometimes I will have a cold streak and I will have to buy some ticks, because like I'll use all my ticks to buy like a new card. And then I won't have any ticks when I do, 2-3 a league. Or completely scrub out, which happens occasionally, where I only, like if you don't win at least 2 games, you don't get any takes back. Tickets are the currency that MTGO uses. So I think Force Negation, I think it's probably okay to just have a one-off when you're already also playing Thoughtseizes. And you may be seeing like, how could you possibly lose against a deck like Oops All Spells when you got 4 Force of Will, 4 Days, 4 Thoughtseizes, 4 Wasteland, 3 Now Spellbomb? Like, it does happen. Let me tell you, like, there are people out there who greatly misunderstand probability and understand that there will be sequences where you just mulligan like 3 consecutive times and you get no landers. And then you end up with like, I think actually that may have happened like where we mulled really deep and we still won a game during this league. But that's always fun. But that you're going to have variance. Variance is a big part of the game, and no deck is favored in every matchup, except I would argue that Blue-Black Reanimator is the closest you can get to being favored in pretty much every matchup. And even it has like a few nightmare matchups like Helm combo where they've got like main deck ley lines and stuff like that would be rough. But I would say that, or Chalice of the Void is pretty good against that deck. So maybe I think Moonstompy is just unfavored anyway, despite having 4 Chalices. Eldrazi, I think, is unfavored. I watched Andrea Mangucci play the Blue-Black Reanimator deck, and he was literally like hellbent with nothing going on, but he had an Atraxa in his yard, and he ripped like an Animate Dead, and then he got like everything he needed, and he completely turned it around from being dead on board against Eldrazi to winning with a single top deck. And that's not something you can do with Blue-Black Tempo, right? But that is something you can do with Blue-Black Reanimator. So going back to this list, like, I don't think Oops All Spells is, I think we're 70-30 now with this current build. I would say 70-30, but that is not 100%, and you are going to lose some matches, and it's frustrating. It's really frustrating when you basically built your deck to be able to beat a deck, and it still beats you. And that still happens with Reanimator too. So don't get dispirited and say, screw it, and throw the deck in the trash because, or go sell all your collection because you lost to like the deck that you were metagaming against. Nadu, I think, is favorable for us. Show and Tell is favorable. Painter is not favorable because they have a bunch of blast effects, but hey, we just beat Painter twice in this league, including one of the better Painter players, Lightwalker. We beat them so badly that they were lamenting, how they always, when they go up against us, they lose. And I'm proud of being a pretty skilled player against Painter because I've just played against it so much. One of my good friends, shout out to John Lee, he played Painter for like a solid year, and I would just play against him constantly, and I kind of learned that way. I'm not saying I'm like playing perfectly or anything like that, but I do think that I'm above average tempo player when it comes to playing against Painter. Okay, Doomsday, yeah, good luck against our deck. I think we just completely shred Doomsday. I think this is like probably like an 80-20 matchup. Mystic Forge is probably like a 60-40 matchup. Cloudpost Ramp with the double Harbinger, I think this is favorable. Storm, I generally don't lose to Storm, but sometimes I do. And there have been some prominent examples of that on this channel where I've lost to Storm. Storm is a very difficult deck to play. Unless you're Brian Cook, you're probably not having great results with it. But there are some people that are very good with the deck. But it's hard to play. And, when you got 4 Thoughtseize, 4 Days, 4 Wasteland, 4 Force of Will, it's tough. This Necro Dominance deck I don't think is a real deck. It's annoying that I have to sometimes play against it, and sometimes I do just randomly lose. But the fail rate is so high. Dredge, I don't think we're favored against Dredge, but I think the only decks that are really favored against Dredge are the decks that can ignore Dredge, like Blue-Black Reanimator, like Oops All Spells that can just win real quick before the dredging becomes an issue. But I don't think we're like cold to it, especially with 3 spell bombs. So I'm going to play another league with this deck. I love this deck. It's so much fun to play. Every game feels like a puzzle. And the reason it feels like a puzzle is because you're constantly assessing like, okay, do I need to defuse the bomb? Can I defuse the bomb that my opponent is about to present? Because 50% of the meta is combo decks, right? Or 47%, right? And then the other 40% are aggro decks that often have like I win button cards in there. Stifle Not, is it kind of like an I win button type deck? Not really. Yeah, I don't know. But like obviously if they're playing like the Cascade deck that cascades into a bunch of rhinos, which I think is... Yeah, Cascade Crash, MTGO. Shout out to them. Never change MTG Top 8 for having these ridiculous names like Artifacts Blue. I've never heard an 8-cast player call their deck Artifacts Blue. Yeah. I think this all around is a perfectly legit selection. If you just want to go and shred combo, if you expect to enter an event, like especially online where there are going to be a lot of combo players, I'm going to the Hunter Burton Memorial Open here in Dallas in a couple weeks, and I am going to play blue-black. I'm not sure what variation, like how many Baleful Strix I'm going to put in there, but my observation is Nethergoyf is really good at closing games, and we already have so many sorceries and artifacts and things like that make Nethergoyf stacked. You can get them up to 6-7 if you postboard when you bring in Kaito. I've attacked with the 6-7 Nethergoyf before. It was glorious. And Nethergoyf is 1 mana cheaper than Baleful Strix for the purpose of enabling Kaito. I think with the double engineered explosives, double Brazen Borrower, you're not completely cold to a Resolved Chalice, but you should force on sight Chalice. So yeah, I like this build a lot, and I'm going to record another league with it. And I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you don't mind my digression into like more, I guess, try hard mode. Because I would like to be playing more Stoneblade with the new card, the Aether Spark. I would like to play just a lot of fun decks. I don't consider Delver like a particularly fun deck to play. It is a disgusting deck sometimes. You just get ridiculous hands and you Delver your opponents, and it is kind of fun to do that. But like the magic I really enjoy is, thought seizing somebody and thinking really hard about what the next few turns are going to involve and how I'm going to thread the needle and get lethal on the board before they can cash in their 6 clues, like in that final round, right? Like that really was like a situation where we flip-flop between being control and being tempo several times. And then we made the decision to start wasting them. And like, I like all those games where there are tons of different options and there's just this giant tree of decisions that branch out and you have to choose a winning one. Kind of like if you've ever seen Avengers, what is it? Avengers, not the Endgame, but it was the one before that. The one with Thanos and Doctor Strange is sitting there and he's like looking through, like using his power, the time stone or whatever, to like look at all these possible branching paths, and he finds one where the Avengers actually ultimately prevail over Thanos. But it's, sorry for a spoiler alert, but he does it, and it's like a very counterintuitive, very weird path that they ultimately have to go if they want to be able to beat him. And of course, if you just stick with your intuition, and if you're not like constantly stepping back and reflecting and thinking about the game state, you can go down paths where you're accumulating value. That was a trap that I fell for a lot when I was first starting. I was like, when in doubt, I'm going to cast my Baleful Strix because it's drawing me deeper into my deck and it's creating value, or I'm going to take this 2-for-1 no matter what, or like when to play into days. Like we played into days several times during that final match where we could have respected days and we didn't. Or like different things like should we play this naked Talmio out that can get fatal push when we don't have a brainstorm to protect her and flip her into a planeswalker, like things like that, right? Like there's push pull and there are heuristics, but ultimately, there's a saying we say in software engineering, like all models are wrong, but some models are useful. And I think that's true with heuristics. All heuristics are kind of wrong in a way, but they're useful. But there will be situations where you have to discard a heuristic, which is basically just a mental shortcut, by the way. Like always play your land before you attack is a heuristic that I use. So I don't have to think. Or always mulligan hands that don't have colored mana sources. That's another heuristic I use just to save computational power. And so that like we're not playing, Bobby Fischer versus, what was the name? Spasic. I can't remember the names of all these Russian chess players, but like we're not playing like, a 16-hour chess game where we each have 8 hours on our clock and we're just sitting there thinking extremely hard. Like we have 25 minutes and my oops all spells opponent has 25 minutes on their clock and I have 25 minutes on my clock. And maybe they only have to make like 6 or 7 real decisions throughout the course of a match, but I have to make 75, 200. I don't know how many decisions I have to make. I'm making a lot of decisions. I'm trying to talk through my lines. I hope you can appreciate that the reason I play slowly is there are a lot of possibilities and I could just jam and hope, but that is not my style. I am not going to give up any potential percentage just unless like I'm totally crushed on time and I don't have time to play. Anyway, this has been a very long, lengthy kind of like digression into my playstyle and stuff like that. I hope it's helpful. You don't have to adopt my playstyle. It's totally fine to limit like, I'll never be like Be Excellent where I'm just sitting there for like 3 minutes contemplating whether to like shuffle a ponder or something like that. Right. But like a lot of these games do hinge on tiny little, like seemingly insignificant decisions. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of like abandoned doing a replay. I think replay is more efficient. Like I can get through tons of games very quickly if I go into MTGO and just do the replay and do my post facto commentary on top of that. But so much of the actual decision making that matters is not captured in a replay. And this is another reason why I don't watch a lot of like paper Magic, is because you don't get any sort of internal insight into the thinking process of the people. I love 90s MTG. I love, shout out to Boardwalk Legacy, my LGS. We have a team of people over there. And they're not working for the LGS, but they independently, this guy, Matthew Basquette, puts videos up and you can watch people play in paper. And that's cool because it has like that cool like 90s MTG aesthetic of watching people actually put cardboard and watching their hands move and watching them think and stuff like that. But you don't get all the insight that you get from watching somebody drop in and actually struggle through a league. Like every match is a struggle. These competitors are very fierce. Lightwalker is no pushover. Like beating Lightwalker at their signature deck that they've played to, I don't know, dozens of trophies over the past few years. That takes a lot of deliberation and skill. And one does not just randomly like luck into beating them. Like that will happen occasionally. MTGO Magic is a game with high variance, but you are going to encounter a lot of situations where that variance is working against you, and it may make you think like, "Who cares? I'm just gonna play Stompy," right? Like, there's this joke that like when a Brainstorm Ponder type legacy player switches to Stompy, they're like one step removed from just quitting Magic completely because they're like very frustrated with the shell. But this is the most powerful thing you can be doing. Always, hopefully, will be is figuring out how to flex your skill and do a very decision heavy game of Magic, figuring out how to do that where you're not going to time every round at your big tournaments. That it took me a long time to not go to time. I'm proud to say that I didn't go to time at all at Eternal Weekend through those 11 rounds. I think we went to turns like one time, but I was able to close it. But that takes time if you're going to play these types of decks, and there's just so many decisions to make. And people may lament Delver's the perennial top deck or whatever. Be thankful that it's not Miracles anymore. And that's because Delver is very powerful, but it's actually very brittle. And the power comes from the ability to skill diff your opponent. And that's what I think that we're doing with this deck, which is very Delver-esque, but has even more controlling aspects in the additional Thoughtseize and the spell bombs, is we are trying to skill diff our Stompy opponents and our combo opponents that haven't necessarily taken the time to master the fundamentals of combat, master the fundamentals of planning multiple turns in a row, haven't spent a lot of time learning about probability and like just getting reps at the hypergeometric calculator to understand what the odds of you drawing, a certain out and a certain chance are. And like a lot of that is intuitive too, just putting in time, playing a whole lot of MTGO. So you can have kind of a subconscious like tally of what your odds are at any given moment and visualizing that advantage bar and where it is. Like that's something that Chris Benucci, 90s MTG, he always jokes about like the advantage bar just swung very far to the Stifle Knot player's side or something like that, right? Like thinking about that in terms of advantage bar and where you are, and it has nothing to do with life total. It doesn't necessarily even have anything to do with cards in hand. It has to do with the critical card that's on the table. Who has Bowmaster superiority, right? Is it me with my Bowmasters out and another Bowmaster in my hand, or is it my opponent who is about to cast a Plague Engineer? You know, like different things like that. Those like certain matchups hinge on things that are invisible to the naked eye and take a lot of time and energy to really see. As Jonathan Swift says, vision is seeing the invisible. I'll leave you with that. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.